not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. How the heck are you? Good to see you. Don't forget, we'll be off on vacation for the next 2 days. We'll be back on Monday for you live right here on The Monty Show. You know what I'll tell you? We love breaking news on The Monty Show to start. And we have a big one for you today. Of course, this show is always presented by The Advocates. At theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Guys, I tell you every day, don't trust your insurance company. Don't do it. And we hear too often about how, you pay your insurance premiums, then you need your insurance, and they're simply not there for you because they're working for their shareholders. They're not working for you. That's why you need somebody who can fight for you, somebody who's been through the claims process. They have battled the insurance companies, and they win time and time again. You need The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Hand them the claims process while you get back to the best version of yourself. Chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com, where you are going to get clear, risk-free advice. Count on it. The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Huge breaking news today, just moments ago, and something that's not surprising. The Bus family is selling the LA Lakers to Mark Walter. That is probably not a name that you are familiar with, but those of us in the sports industry over time know Mark Walter well. He is already a minority shareholder in the Lakers. Him and a guy named Todd Bailey have the right of first refusal. If the Lakers were ever sold, they have the right to be the first ones to buy the team, and Mark Walter is doing that. He is also a guy that owns a majority share now of the LA Sparks. He has a minority interest in the LA Dodgers. He has a ownership, a managerial stake, if you will, in Chelsea Football Club. He has got motorsports teams. This is a billionaire. This is a guy that's got money all over the place in sports, and now Mark Walter owns the LA Lakers. Are you surprised by this news?
A little bit. I it's not something that was on my radar, but, eventually the Lakers are going to sell. Every family moves on from, their ownership stakes in sports. So I guess it's fine, but it's the Lakers, and, it's kind of the end of an era in terms of, this family owning the club having major success in the bigger picture. And you never know what a franchise is going to look like under new ownership. Now, I will say there's no reason to believe that the philosophy of the Lakers is going to change. I think when your governor, Jeannie Buss, is still going to, keep running the team and running the day-to-day, there's no reason for it really to change. So I would continue to expect them to be active in trade talks and, from the basketball side. And I hope that at some point the Lakers get back to winning championships, because the league is better when they're good.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, you don't do what Mark Walter has done with his sports franchises and entities and then buy the Lakers and not win. He has won everywhere he's been. Trust me, I'm a diehard, passionate Chelsea Football Club supporter. They spend money. Now, they don't always spend money well, if we're being honest, but they spend money. They do everything they can do to win. Chelsea is back in the Champions League. Chelsea won their first Club World Cup number. But I think it is remarkable that the Los Angeles Lakers today have opened up the process. And it is really, I feel like I've used this phrase a lot this week. It's a fait accompli.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. When Mark Walters says, I'm buying the franchise, it's done. Cheney Buss, as Jake mentioned, will continue to be the governor and represent the Lakers on the management side of the NBA. But I think you don't see franchises like this. We recently saw the Celtics go. We have now are seeing the Lakers go. Like it's very rare that you see these cornerstone franchises in sports. The Cowboys, I mean, by any measure, the Cowboys are the biggest franchise in the National Football League.
How long do the Bulls have?
But but are the Bulls on that scale?
Oh, I think so. For the right buyer, yeah. I think anybody who watches basketball knows the Bulls could be iconic again. You know, they're it's Chicago. You know, they've just been bad because, you know, dude is a terrible owner. So I think that's one of those situations where it's like, yep, right owner in that position, you could do some big things.
And the thing that is so shocking is that it is huge money. It is $10.9 billion.
And by the way, how much did the Buss family pay for the Lakers in '79?
37 cents.
Oh, that's right. $67 million.
And they just got $10.9
Come on.
billion.
I know they got to pay taxes and pay the IRS. I get it, but come on.
$10.9 billion. Imagine scaling a business from $60 million to $10 billion.
That is a wild number.
It is wild to me. And I can't even begin to tell you the success story that the Buss family is. And I say more power to them. I know there's a lot of people that hate the Lakers. Hell, I know we have a lot of Knicks fans on this show. James Dolan's going to let the Knicks go at some point. If the Lakers are $10.9 billion, how much are the flipping Knicks worth? Can you even imagine that? Because if you're buying the Knicks, aren't you buying MSG and all of his other properties? You probably are.
Of course.
That's probably a $15 billion deal. Yeah, let me just scratch you a check. $10.9 billion.
Must be nice, bro.
For the Lakers today. So that is huge. I think it's remarkable. It is remarkable to me that these are the times that we live in. But hey, it is what it is, right? A lot more on the Lakers and Jazz allegedly talking trade again. And Jazz fans are just instantly pissed. We can't make a trade with the Lakers.
You mean for like the 15th time in the last 36 months?
No, you have and you will. You have and you will.
Come on, bro.
You absolutely will. All right, let's get down to work on the Monty Show, presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Paul Finebaum torches the Pac-12. You know, listen, I dislocated my shoulder on the show this week, patting myself on the back, so I need to be careful. Paul Finebaum's a G, and I think you know on this show we have a love-hate relationship with the Bald Wonder, and I think for the most part he is the voice of the SEC.
That's why we have Finebaum.
There's no question that's why we have Finebaum, right? Because he is the voice of the SEC. Well, Paul Finebaum went on Greg McElroy's podcast, and I mean, Jake, what would you say? I mean, I think this truly validates the fact that he watches our show every day.
Yeah, I mean, the evisceration of the reputation and value of the brands in the Pac-12 by Paul Finebaum.
This is rough.
I mean, this is one of those deals where, you know, like when you're insulting someone and the insult is like so simple, but it is so backhanded that you can't really measure how you feel in the moment when it's said. That's kind of what this is out of Paul Finebaum.
And listen, I don't really recognize the Pac-12 as anything other than a collection of rejects and misfits. And Texas State is probably a better ad than it sounds, because I think a lot of people aren't that familiar with what they've done. I mean, they have a good program, but it's just cobbling a bunch of things together. But in relation to the ACC, I don't see any room for growth right there. And I think the Big Ten SEC conversation has been hashed out. I don't think either is all that excited about taking anybody else in, which leaves the Big 12. They've been aggressive in recent years because they had to keep up. But I would be shocked if major tremors start to occur within the Power Four right now.
I mean, that's as plainly as one can say it. I mean, it is by Paul Finebaum's definition, the new Pac-12 is a bunch of misfit toys that doesn't have a lot of value in its brands. And I think here we are sitting talking about the Pac-12 getting a media deal and, you know, the maximum number being 65 million. And you begin to understand why that's the number. And if they, in fact, get to 65 million, I think it's an unequivocal win, as we talked about earlier this week. I am telling you that the Pac-12 is going to struggle to gain brand recognition. I think it is going to be the most significant struggle that we have seen in college football in some years, because they're going to struggle to recruit. I think they are going to struggle to financially compete. You look at what's going on at Washington State and now multiple schools. I am told that Fresno State is cutting a lot of sports as well. Multiple schools in the Pac-12 cutting sports from their lineups so they can financially, withstand the blow that it is going to be for the first several years to create a new conference. I think those struggles are real. So when you hear Paul Finebaum take it a step further and say that they're a bunch of misfits put together in a conference, Jake, that doesn't bode well for the future of this conference.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the national image of the conference. I just don't think that it's that controversial to say that people don't respect the Pac-12. Like, I don't have a dog in the Pac-12 fight. I don't have a dog in the Mountain West fight. And frankly, I won't be watching much of either of them. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. And for me, it's a situation where, yeah, everybody loves to talk about the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and everything that's going on. But the reality is it's not the most relevant product in the country for college football. That much is clear. So when you ask an SEC guy like Paul Finebaum what he thinks of the Pac-12, and in the bigger picture, what he thinks of realignment, because everyone's so, boned over Texas State going to this conference, this guy just went out and said that this conference is a bunch of misfits and rejects, and he doesn't really care about it, and he doesn't see any realignment happening in the Power Four anytime soon. I mean, that's about as clear as it gets. That's about as, big a slap to the bag as it gets for the Pac-12. And the problem is, I don't even think he's that wrong. Is it extreme? Is it a dig? Is he being disrespectful? Is it harsh?
Sure,
Absolutely.
it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. But are we really going to sit here and pretend like this conference has all this grand history still, and it's just an incredible melting pot of different brands on the West Coast? Like feed me more Pac-12 marketing, pie. Like, it's just not. It's a conference that was born out of the frustration and the need to exist, I guess, the need to do something when you got piped by your media partners and other schools, because your media partners would not meet you in the middle because you didn't have any leverage in those conversations. And you only got there because you made a bunch of bad decisions in management. And frankly, you didn't win enough at that time on the big enough stage to garner respect nationally. That was the problem.
Yeah, I think these are harsh words. And I would note to you, he did not say this on the Paul Finebaum show. And I think that is a significant difference, because when you hear Paul Finebaum talk about things on the Finebaum show, he's very scripted. He is very deliberate. This is on McElroy and Kubelik, which is one of the bigger college football shows. And you listen to Finebaum's words. And again, it's right out of the gate here, so pay attention. But it's pretty harsh on the Pac-12.
And listen, I don't really recognize the Pac-12 as anything other than a collection of rejects and misfits. And Texas.
I mean, that's harsh, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Rejects and misfits. That's awfully harsh. And the problem is, those aren't the adjectives I would use. Are they brands that don't curry a lot of favor or Attention, absolutely. You have small brands outside of Gonzaga basketball, Boise football, and really Boise across the board, I think, is one of the if not the biggest G5 brand in the business. But you look at the rest of Colorado State, nobody knows who Utah State is. Nobody knows, like Colorado State is very limited, and you might know how competitive they are in football, but you don't know far beyond that, right? Like, it's just this notion, and this conversation on the McElroy show was about, hey, are we looking at, acquisitions or expansion at the power level?
Realignment.
And it's what I told you yesterday. The answer is absolutely not. There is no path for the Pac-12 to get back to autonomous status, as it is officially called, better known as the word power conference does not exist in a rule book. It is autonomous. It is autonomy, playing by a different set of rules. There is no path for the Pac-12 to get back to being a power conference. There simply is not. And I think you look at where the Pac-12 is, I just feel like this is an uphill fight, and I don't think it's one that they can win, because I still maintain, and let's say it is all the way up to $65 million, $7.2 million per school per year, which I think I still will not believe that number till I see it. And again, multiple TV sources have told me that's the top end. Let's see. Let's see when pen gets to paper. Let's see what happens. But if you get $65 million a year, that is walking around money compared to the debt that this conference is going to walk into. It's not as though it's a windfall that is in the next 2 years going to pay you out of debt. You are going to have to debt manage, which means you are going to have to pay interest. You are going to have to pay money cost that your competitors are not going to have to pay. And I think it's going to be very difficult for this conference. And one of the things we've talked about routinely is, hey, okay, so most of your content is on the CW. You're going to produce those games. And Pac-12 fan, and it's funny, people keep sending me the Reddit feeds and strings of Pac-12 fans talking about our show and building this argument on Reddit, which I think is hysterical. You're on Reddit building an argument that, well, the CW will include those production costs. Why would the CW do that? The CW is going to cut you a check and pay you money. That's what the relationship is. And if you're the CW, are you going to pay extra money to cover the cost of producing the games from the Pac-12?
Not when the precedent is for you not to do that.
Absolutely not.
No.
You're not going to do that.
Hell no.
That is exponentially more money that you're giving to the Pac-12. You would just up your deal with them, which you're not going to do, because the net benefit to you is not there. Spending $1 more on the Pac-12, especially in the first 3 years, is not going to net you a significant return, because there are going to be very few football teams in this league that are going to compete for a college football playoff spot. Because what is the best indicator of future results? Past actions. So is the San Diego market going to be just on fire for San Diego State football? No, there's no reason for them to be. And the same at Fresno State. And my point in all of this is the first 3 years that this conference is in business are going to be very difficult and very financially challenging. And then you hear a guy like Paul Finebaum, whether you like Paul or not, almost doesn't matter, because Paul Finebaum is a significant voice in the power structure of college football. He works at ESPN. He's on ESPN every single day. He is on all ESPN platforms pretty much every single day. And he just said that you were a collection of misfits.
Which is definitely rough.
That is as harsh as it gets. And again, he didn't say this. He didn't say this on ESPN television. He said this on ESPN radio. But where did we find it? Well, we found it, I believe we found it on ESPN.com. They have a story on it. Like, people sent me an On3 story about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about it.
CBS Sports has a blurb about it. Like, this is a big story. And again, you can denigrate Paul Finebaum any way you want. You want to crush the guy, you want to say he sucks, he's out of touch, he's an SEC homer. Okay, cool. He's still one of the most prominent voices in college sports.
Absolutely.
And I think that makes it tough. Is he correct, though, Jake? I think that is the question. Is Paul Finebaum correct?
Listen, if you're trying to have a conversation about whether the brands in the Pac-12 are actually misfits, that's a different conversation than the one I think we need to have, which is, are they perceived to be misfits? Because I think that this is the kind of media reaction and the kind of reputation you've built for yourself. I think that, no, Boise State's not a misfit. No, like San Diego State, even with, the great Wicker, no, they're not a misfit, I would say. I think that's harsh. But what I do know is when your conference melts down, you go into another conference and try to steal all their prominent brands. Then you sign those brands and you don't want to pay any poaching fees. You don't want to pay any exit fees. You're going to be regarded negatively. You are going to be looked at as unprofessional, as misfits, because you didn't handle this professionally, and frankly, you didn't do the pragmatic and logical thing, which would have been to just merge after, like you could have easily parlayed the scheduling alliance you had for 5 minutes into, hey, let's merge and let's figure out how to bring the Pac-12 brand forward. Everybody and their mom knows that was a good idea, except for the people in the Pac-12. So Is he right? Well, I don't know that he's right that they're actually misfits, but he's for sure right that they're perceived to be misfits. And frankly, they've earned that. You earned that, Boise State. Like, you chose to get on this train. So if I ever hear anybody in this conference criticizing or complaining or saying, how could you say that about us? Well, I can say it about you because of the way you went about this.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem the brand still exists. I have a problem with the fact that you tried to ruin another conference so that you could come back into existence. It wasn't the Mountain West's fault that you were terrible at running your autonomous conference at that time. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
trouble
Paul
with that.
Finebaum is partially correct. I think it is a weird mixing of universities. And when you officially add Texas State, that's a misfit. Texas State does not make that conference better. It doesn't. All right,
doesn't really fit in, by the way, with the brands they have, which I think is more what he's
all
speaking
it does
to.
all it does is get you to the minimum requirement.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
All right, let's get your thoughts in here on the Pac-12. If you want to bounce back to the breaking news today, the LA Lakers were sold to billionaire Mark Walter, who is a sports titan. Again, he owns the Sparks, the Dodgers, now the Lakers, Chelsea Football Club, a myriad of brands in motorsports. The LA Lakers sold for $10.9 billion.
It's an incredible number.
$10 billion they sold for. Jeannie Buss, the current governor of the Lakers, will continue as the governor of the Lakers. I mean, it is just, I hope you guys understand who this guy is. Like, he is the money behind Cadillac's new F1 team. He is the money behind Andretti Global, which is both IndyCar and I mean, the money that this guy has, just to have enough money to own one of the LA Dodgers, Chelsea Football Club, or an F1 franchise, is billions of dollars. He owns all of those. Now he owns the Lakers and the Sparks. I mean, this is a titan of professional sport. So the Lakers are certainly not going anywhere, right? There's nobody that's going to cut a corner there. And I just think it is amazing to me. And I know I said this 20 minutes ago when the show opened on this, but it's amazing to me the money that the Lakers, I said $10 billion.
Yeah, bro.
That is money that we're sitting up over here trying to make $100,000 a month. They're doing that a second, like $10 billion the Lakers have sold for.
Yeah.
I mean, would you, if you could own the Lakers and you had $10 billion to spend, would you?
I don't think I would.
Yes, I
Dude,
would
10
have a
billion
box
is
and
so
multiple
much,
courtside
dude.
seats. But again, if you're passionate about sports, he owns Los Angeles sports.
Okay, no, but I'm being serious. I'm not even trying to be stubborn. If you had $10 billion and you already owned all the different, stuff he owns, because he obviously, as you've just said, he owns a lot of different things and is involved in a lot of different things.
NASCAR, F1, Chelsea Football
You're
Club.
involved in the Dodgers already.
Yep.
And you could acquire the Lakers for $10 billion. Like, I guess the factor that would go into my decision on that is, what is $10 billion? And I'm being serious, genuinely serious. For this guy, what does $10 billion mean to him? Because the reality is, and I know it sounds ridiculous, like I'm even having trouble saying it, but the reality is this guy clearly is so wealthy that $10 billion doesn't mean, like, yeah, it's a lot of money, obviously, but when he's 100 billionaire or whatever this guy is.
Do you guys understand that he is the one who approved all of the Dodgers spending? Do you understand he did that? They broke payroll records 4 seasons since he bought the team.
Like, people are concerned that Dodgers have can't remember the official term, like delayed the payments, right? Retroactive payments or whatever. Like they pushed it down.
Deferred money.
That's what I was looking for. Deferred payments. And people are like, oh, well, that's adding up to like $1 billion, Monty. This guy doesn't care. That's nothing to him, dude.
And the other thing that I would point out is these are business deals, man. This is the business of Major League Baseball. This guy just spent $10 billion buying the Lakers. And I don't think it's making him tight in any way, shape, or form.
And I really hope that because what'll happen is this guy's going to buy the Lakers. LeBron's going to retire at some point in the next couple of seasons. We know that. And then the Lakers are going to go through a transformation, right? Once Bron retires, this guy's going to come in and absolutely, in my opinion, based on what he's done with the Dodgers, absolutely load this team up.
And think about what he did with the Dodgers, whether it's Freddie Freeman, who was transformative, Shohei, Roki, like you name the pickup.
The acquisitions
Mookie Betts,
have been ridiculous.
You look at that lineup. He's got multiple LeBrons on the Dodgers.
Did you say Freddie?
Yeah,
you did. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And if you look at their payroll situation, they're now talking about acquiring John Collins from the Lakers. Now, the cap situation doesn't exist in baseball, but you look at the money he's willing to spend, because when you're selling a team, and this is very much like the Utah Jazz when Ryan Smith bought the Utah Jazz and greenlit the Rudy Gobert contract, he's already in control of that team for all intent and purposes. I mean, he's got a minority share of it with he is the only guy who is allowed to buy it. Like Bailey and Walter are business partners. And again, they own Chelsea Football Club together, the Dodgers. They had the right of first refusal if the Buss family ever decided to sell. And they've exercised it. So to me, this is one of the craziest. I mean, he spent, I don't mean to keep saying it, he spent $10.9 billion. The Lakers are worth 10.9, an NBA franchise in a league that is allegedly struggling. The Lakers just got $10.9 billion. Tell me that James Dolan didn't just pucker a little bit.
Yeah, boy.
Because you can't tell me this isn't. We've heard for 5 years now that Jimmy Dolan's been trying to sell the Knicks and MSG. And
well, what did you say earlier? Right? You said, hey, the thing with the Lakers is that this dude, has right of first refusal. So not only are you buying it for $10 billion plus, you've had that money waiting to buy it. You have been waiting for the opportunity to buy this club. So I'm just trying to point out that that, fat ass Luka or Braun or whoever you want to point to in wanting their contract and everything, this guy is going to be much more flexible with that stuff. Lakers are in a better position with this guy buying majority ownership than they were. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And his, I'm pretty sure that his group 1001, I believe they're the ones that bankrolled Caitlin Clark as an endorser, to grow her brand. Like, I mean, they don't play, man. They don't play at all. His group 1001, it's amazing what they do. It is amazing what they do. Anyway, all of this to say, the Lakers sold for $10 billion today. That's crazy. Look at that. Aaron Wilson for $2.
Well,
hey, y'all.
Nice. What's up,
What's
dude?
going on? How's life as a mailman?
How's
Good to see you, buddy. Aaron also gifts one Monty Show membership. Aaron, always good to see you, my guy. Brandon, Big Pontiff, he's been a member for 29 months.
Big Pontiff.
Why are we discussing the PAC when the Lakers may have just sold for $10 billion? Not may have, they did. You guys, it's over. It's over. This is the, and I hope people understand this, and I have no life, and that's why I understand this, but this announcement means it's over. He had the right of first refusal to buy the club. So that means, and I know that the Buss family and Bailey and Walter have a really good relationship. They're very close. They have been talking about this for some time. I mean, I have to believe that the contracts are all but signed. I mean, it would be very difficult for this to get unwound. Toot Pants. Wiki says that Mark Walter grew up a Chicago Cubs fan. Another purchase? No.
Cubs
you
fans
don't.
Aren't that lucky.
You don't understand. The assholes that own the Cubs, otherwise known as the Ricketts family, tried to buy Chelsea Football Club. Who did they lose out in that bidding war to? Mark Walter and Todd Bailey. So I'm going to say they're not going to sell the Cubs and they're not going to sell the Cubs. The Ricketts fan, I rip the Ricketts family because they just won't spend the money that's required to win in baseball. But the Dodgers are. And, I'm glad the Ricketts didn't buy Chelsea Football Club. That would have been a disaster. Because what Bailey and Walter have done there is they've spent money, and a lot of it. Now, again, has it all been good money? No. One of their biggest signings just got a 5-year doping ban and really hasn't been seen on the pitch since October. So it's not like we were really, but we're back in the Champions League. I say Notre Dame is back in Chelsea's back in the Champions League.
Does your striker get texts from his mom too, or what's that looking like?
Seriously. Chelsea's back in the Champions League. We're in the Club World Cup, which we won match already. Like, they're spending money. Liam Delap, who played a hand in the ultimate, nail in the coffin in that first Club World Cup game. One of the best young players in the world, just signed with Chelsea Football Club and is in the shirt already. Like, they spend money and they win. And they're figuring out at Chelsea. They will figure it out with the Lakers, and I'm here for it. Because I am telling you, as somebody that's a casual observer of the LA Lakers, the NBA is better when the Lakers are better. There's no doubt about that. So, Mr. Ed Wayner, Pac-12 sold for 0.109 cent, reports J.D. Wicker.
Nice,
okay?
Nice.
Cash infusion, right? Like, if you guys could, let's play the game we always play when this happens. You can buy one franchise. What is it? Well, there's no doubt. For me, it's the Cubs or the Bears. It would probably be the Cubs because there's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago Bears stadium situation is a major deflator of the peen. Like, it is
a major deflator of the peen.
It is, Yeah, it is not good. It is. I need to be reinvigorated as a Bears fan with this stadium. If we truly build a stadium in Arlington Heights on a trash heap of a racetrack, I'm going to be erroneous. No, it's not erroneous, unfortunately. That would be really disappointing. It would probably be the Chicago Cubs. Big Pontiff says Mark Walter needs to make a call on the Chargers or the Cowboys. Well, I don't think it'll be the Cowboys because that's staying in that family, but the Spanoses won't sell the Chargers.
No.
They
Hell
won't.
no.
And why would the Cronkies sell the Rams?
That would be too good for the sports world.
But you want to know who this bro runs with? Stan Kroenke and him are business partners. So does he really need to buy the Rams?
Nope.
You know. Danny Kiger.
Hey, Danny.
So now how many games will Ohtani start for the Lakers next season? From what I understand, he's a great power forward too. A little bit of an elbow issue, but you know. Fight on. What's up, Fight on? Good to see you, bud. If I had $10 billion to spare, I would purchase the Lakers in a heartbeat. Me too. You bring $5 billion, I'll bring $5 billion. We'll split the tab. Right? I mean, it's
wild.
Crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Nathan Grella. If Texas State joins the PAC and Memphis joins as a football only, would Tulane and UTSA also join as a football? Too far down the road.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man.
I'm telling you, the biggest issue for the Pac-12, if you want Memphis, is they're not putting all their sports in that league. And where does Memphis basketball go? Because I think it's a really big question of, will the Big East take Memphis basketball? And the answer is, I don't know. Big Blue Horses. Lakers do things. Ryan Smith and Ainge still standing around wondering what to do. You're not wrong. Inspire Me says the Knicks with Dolan. Dude.
I would rather own the Lakers than the Knicks.
Oh, man, that's tough.
I'm an LA guy, not a New York guy.
But if you could buy the Knicks and make them a winner.
Oh, there's no question. The next owner that brings a title to the Knicks will be a legend forever.
And the passion of New York basketball. If I could afford either, money wasn't an object, that would be a very tough decision.
No, you're buying the Lakers. Come on.
I don't know. Dude, have you ever been to the Garden?
Yeah, I haven't been to the Garden, but you're not a New York guy. You're an LA guy. That's
but the Knicks, the Garden, the Knicks, when the Knicks are good, the Garden is everything. Right? Like that'd be tough. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm probably leaning Lakers, but that'd be tough. Makes you realize how much of a steal A-Rod Lore got the Wolves for at $1.6 billion.
Yeah.
And now Kevin Durant won't even take Ant's phone call. Did you guys hear that story? Anthony Edwards recruiting Kevin Durant.
Sure.
Don't you know who I am?
Sure.
And now there are stories out there that Kevin Durant won't take the phone call because he wants nothing to do with the T-Wolves.
Can you blame him?
I hate A-Rod too. Fat! Jesus. How much to buy the Monty Show? $37.
And 10 cents.
Yeah. Well, you got to get extra chicken at Chipotle, so you better make it $37.50.
Extra meat, you know.
I don't need extra meat. You do.
Okay.
Always sad seeing children cash in on what their parents did before them, John Hamm said. What do you mean by that?
You're seriously blaming Jeannie? Are you for real?
Is that what that is?
I'm sorry. I thought you just criticized Jeannie Buss for all the work she's put into the franchise.
Who are you, Oak State James?
Yeah, following in her dad's footsteps.
This is one of the, if that's what this is, and I'm not saying this is.
I've ever heard.
Yeah, if that's
dude.
what this is, if you're criticizing the Buss family, you don't know anything about that situation.
If what they just did is stupid, then I'm happy to be stupid, dude.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
Come on.
If that's what this comment is, and I'm not saying that's what it is because that's pretty stupid, and I don't know you to be stupid.
I don't know what else you would mean, so maybe you should clarify.
Yeah, that is Fight on Natty's. Finebaum is nothing more than Saban's boy toy. Okay, well, you don't have to like Paul Finebaum, but he's got a massive platform. And when he speaks, people listen, right? Chewy Gonzalez. I've been eating Chipotle every day for a week. Pray for my toilet. Oh, dude. Foam poles and redwoods. That's what you're going to do. Greetings from the soon-to-be Mountain West headquarters in Vegas. Bro, stay cool. Stay cool. I saw some Vegas weather the other day. It's going to be 104 in Utah tomorrow. The weather forecast in Vegas today, 109, tomorrow, 108. You get a break on Friday at 103. And then a cold front comes through and cools you off to 95 degrees on Saturday.
Nah, I'm fine.
Bro, I'm stoked. I'm headed to Colorado. I'm headed to Vail. I am playing 2 of the best golf courses in the United States on Friday and Saturday. I am really looking forward to that. Eagle Vale Golf Club and then Vail Golf Club. I am super stoked for both of those. We'll going to have to make sure I clean the PXGs before we head out.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to that. But, we'll see. Paul is entertaining for a listen, but please, when you listen, it is to be entertained, not great, accurate information. He's an entertainer, not a journalist. Well, and he says so on his show. But notice he didn't say this on the Finebaum show. Not to be redundant, because I know I said this earlier. But, he said this on McElroy and Kubelik. So there's a big difference there. Big Lubbock. If the Lakers are worth $10.9 billion, then how much are the Cowboys worth? Well, I mean, it's probably more than that. I mean, there's always values.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I the only one that is? I am staggered by the $10.9 billion number. Cowboys are allegedly worth $11 billion.
10 is a big number
For an NBA
for the
franchise.
Lakers, that's a big number, bro.
When the most valuable for 2024, the most valuable franchise in the NFL was the Dallas Cowboys at $11 billion on $1.22 billion in revenue. That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that,
oh my God.
The thing with it is that the arena, the Lakers, like, there's a lot of money outside of the basketball team going on there, so 10 bill is, I don't know. I know you're saying it would be tough for you to choose between the Knicks and the Lakers and LA and New York, and it wouldn't be tough for me. I think the Lakers are just think about, you own the Lakers, you live in LA, like, it's everything you want, dude.
True. I would, if I could afford Los Angeles in Orange County, if I could afford to live at Pelican Hill in Newport Beach and own the Lakers.
I mean, are you telling me if you're a billionaire, the billionaire owner of the Lakers, you're telling me that you don't live in either Orange County,
Beverly
Hills. You're telling me you're not just choppering to the arena every day? You don't have a just,
Kobe.
Yeah. Like, you don't have a setup? Like, of course you do. Of course you do.
Dude.
So that's what I'm saying. For me, it wouldn't be difficult, because all I would do is I would roll up to work every day, otherwise known as crypto, or I think it's actually, is it going back to Staples? I think it's going back to Staples Center.
Something like that.
But I'd roll up to the building every day, and I'd probably watch practice, hang out, get to know the guys a little bit, and then I'd probably go golf. That's what owners do. That's what billionaires do.
Look at Jake being on the number. Late Jerry Buss purchased the LA Lakers for $67.5 million in 79. And you guys are ripping Jeannie Buss and her brothers.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
for selling it for $10.9 billion.
And you want, and you're criticizing
to
them
a close family friend.
You're criticizing them not just because they sold the team, but you're saying they rode the coattails of their father. Yeah, you're damn right they did, dude. If Buddy over here owned the Lakers, I'd be riding his coattails too.
Fucking right.
Like, what do you mean, dude? Like, what kind of dumbass thing is that to say? You wouldn't follow in your family's business if,
oh my God.
if they had the wherewithal at that time in the 70s. Do you understand how much money in the 70s $67 million is?
And this is the thing that I think people don't understand, right? As we sit here and talk about the LA Lakers being sold for $10.9 billion. Do you guys not understand who Jerry was? Jerry Buss? Jerry Buss was a deal maker. Jerry Buss was a guy that built independent wealth. Jerry Buss was a pimp in every sense of the word. Like you look at the way that Jerry built his empire, and you understand that my guess is he would love this deal. I mean, did you ever watch Jerry Buss play poker as infamously as a poker player? Like, the guy to me he's everything that you want. I mean, the guy as an investor, the USC philanthropic efforts, like everything that he did for Los Angeles, he would love this deal.
Yes.
He would absolutely love this deal. And I think it is crazy to think that you would not. Anybody criticizing the Buss family for doing this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, the money that he made in real estate dealings, Jerry Buss would be proud of his kids. There is no question about that. Fanboy Prime, a member for 5 months.
Nice.
What did I miss? Nothing. You didn't miss a thing.
Yeah, you just missed some idiot kid coattailing off his parents and just looking like an idiot. Like, it's fine, dude.
I'd buy the Dodgers.
I'd buy the Dodgers.
Hell yeah, Chewy.
Not before the Cubs, but I'd buy the Dodgers.
Isaac Drost, Mark Walter, and the other owners of Chelsea FC alone spent $237 million in the summer window in 24.
Which, again, is nothing to them.
And then you watch Enzo score that goal the other day. And it's like, you understand that they're spending money to win. They're not spending money they're spending money with the idea of winning. And it's what you want in ownership. Wasikowski, Cubs are overrated. Not as overrated as the Detroit skyline behind. Never mind. Stupid.
Talk about taking a beating.
The Cubs are not overrated. Brandon Butler, if I can afford to buy the Bears, I can build a stadium.
I just don't understand. Why not renovate Soldier Field? Why not remake that building?
Well, they did.
Do it again.
But the problem is it's cost prohibitive, and it's owned by the city of Chicago, and it's not the Bears stadium. The Bears want to wholly own a stadium, and they want tax breaks. It's a long thing. Jaron Eccles, what's up, my guy? Good to see you. I would buy the Cowboys just to run the program into the ground. Oh, wait, that's happening already.
Yeah,
wow.
Why spend the money when it's already happening, dude?
Wow. Shots fired.
Yeah.
Shots fired, Danny Kiger. Do you realize in simple terms the Lakers sold for $10,900 and the PAC is hoping for $65 million in a rights win? They sold for $10.9 billion. Yeah. But you're on different scales there. Forbes valued the Lakers at $7 billion in 2024, but you have to pay more on purchase because of unrealized gains. Well, but it's not even that. You're paying more to move them to sell the team. Yeah, we're worth $7 billion. Yeah, but we enjoy owning the team. Well, what if I give you $10 billion? Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Right?
Dude.
Yeah.
In NBA news, let me it'll be easier.
Okay. What happened to Paul George?
Paul George, reported by a local beat writer in Salt Lake, is it's being reported that the Jazz and 76ers have discussed a trade that would send PG to Utah.
Why would you do that?
I'm sorry. I thought Austin Ainge was this incredible mind in basketball ops. Just this incredible, can't do it better than him. If they go out and get Paul George,
why
you're
would you
foolish,
do this?
Dude, that's one of the dumbest acquisitions I could even think to cook up for the Jazz, dude.
Why on earth would you go if you're the Utah Jazz, why would you trade for the guy that your fans hate so much? Because you said he sucks.
You already have him in marketing. You got the same guy.
Why would you? Okay, I give up. Chewy Gonzalez. I'd also buy the Big 12 and infuse a bunch of private equity. There you go. Arlington Bears. Hello. Good to see you, Chris. Don't bust on Arlington. I bet they have plenty of room for tons of bike racks. Exactly.
Well,
it just is heartbreaking to me as a Chicago kid, as a huge Bears fan. It's heartbreaking to me to see them leaving the lakefront. If in fact that's what happens, and
It should never happen.
it's heartbreaking. It is not. That will be a dark day, in my opinion. Michael Peck, Bourne needs to retire so the Lakers, you mean Braun, needs to retire so the Lakers can compete for a championship. Well, if he was the reason they weren't competing for a championship, I would agree with you. He is not by any stretch of the imagination why the LA Lakers aren't competing for a championship. That'd be the Luka Doncic trade. And Luka's is it inability or unwillingness to play defense? Because you've got multiple guys there, and Luka just simply he has not been the same player since he had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to God, go look at the 3-point shooting, look at the free throw stuff, look at the efficiency numbers. Forget his defense, because he is just abysmal. LeBron James is not the reason the Lakers aren't winning. Big Ponev says, I would own the Knicks. You get a championship there, you will be treated like an 85 Bear in Chicago. Can you imagine that? And you would trade for Kevin Durant, who openly says he wants to be a Knick, and the Knicks are like, nah, I'm fine.
Stupid.
Okay. Fight on Natties. Let's be real, gentlemen. The Knicks are not winning a title, not in our lifetime, not with Jimmy Dolan. And I think they're close right now. A Kevin Durant deal, the Celtics are going to tear that thing down. And the Pacers, I think we figured out very quickly who the Pacers are not. Right? They don't have a horse. They don't have a guy. You put Kevin Durant on the Knicks, and I don't know what that deal will require, but if you can move Cat out of New York, replace him with Durant in smaller pieces, that's a champion. Can you imagine Derek White and Kevin Durant added to the Knicks?
Be pretty good.
Come on. Love Muscle. PAC should have taken UNLV in Nevada and been done with it. Well, maybe it depends on who wanted to go and who didn't. Right? I mean, I think that's a big question. Shouty, how are you? Replica. Hopefully this purchase will convince Walter and Bailey to sell Chelsea. Their consortium has spent $1.5 billion in 3 years, and all they have to show for it is Cole Palmer and a bunch of overpriced kids. No. We literally are a keeper away from being a top 2 team in this league, in my opinion. Like if we'd have had a keeper, because we probably lost 6 goals this past campaign, especially after the turn of the year. There were 4 really bad goals. I mean, you add, and those goals cost you matches, points. You add 12, let's say 12 points, 4 more wins. Where's Chelsea in the table? Come on. Their early spending was atrocious. I think we all agree with that at Chelsea. Jake doesn't know a thing about this, but Chelsea's early spending with Bailey sitting there, horrendous. He spent just to say he was spending, and it did not work out well. Their spending the last 2 windows has been much better. Much, much better. And developing a cat like Cole Palmer, who is an elite striker in this league, and did anybody notice that Cole Palmer's wearing the 10 now? That's not accidental at all. For the Lakers, great market, good real estate, and great reputation. Not all franchises are created equal. If the Bulls sold for 10, I would think it would be an overpay. Bro, the Bulls at $5 billion, right? There's no value in that team. There's no value in that team.
10. Certainly not. I think the Bulls are, in my opinion, a $3 to $5 billion franchise. That's, to me, it's an iconic city. It's an iconic franchise that just has been run really poorly.
Is it listen, I am a Chicago Bulls fan, right? I don't think it's an iconic franchise. I don't. They're valued number 4 at $5.8 billion. It's Golden State number 1 at 9.4. Knicks number 2 at 7.5. Lakers number 3 at $7 billion. Bulls 4 at 5.8. Rockets 5. The Houston Rockets are the 5th most valuable franchise. Boston 7 at $5.5 billion. No, I don't like that. And these numbers came out on Valentine's Day. So this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I was not referencing the Bus family. I haven't watched the NBA since Shaq at LA days, so no idea about that situation. Okay, so what were you referencing?
Yeah, what were you referencing then?
Because that was close. Joey B, salmon or orange? Jake's shirt today.
Nah, it's
strawberry.
Orange. It's orange.
Strawberry.
It's not salmon, dude. It's not
purple.
light enough to be salmon.
Yeah, it's purple.
Yeah, not light enough to be salmon. It's definitely orange.
It's purple.
Okay.
No?
No.
Okay. Mine's white. I decided to wear a white shirt today. So, toot pants. Wait, if Monty were rich, there would be no more Monty Show to watch. No, dude. You can count on that.
Don't joke.
You can count on that because I am a big believer. I want to be the guy with billions, and I am telling you right now, I don't even think that it is close. If I had the money to buy a franchise, bro, I'm telling you, if I'm ever making $100,000 a month, this show's done.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is, I don't think people understand how much work, time, effort, money goes into producing this show.
Yeah.
It is not an easy endeavor. It is 6-7 hours a day of work.
Mental energy.
Yeah. And I love doing it. It is a lot of fun to do this show. Make no mistake about it. Doing this show every day is a blast. For the 3.5, 4 hours we do the show every day, it's a blast. It's the business side of it. It is, it's arguing with, people about this or that, or, hey, we want to do this and that, or we'd like to try. And it's just this continuing conversation of, well, but we did business with this podcast in his mom's basement. If I hear that one more time, I have a custom built broadcast studio. And I constantly hear about Jimmy in a closet talking college football and what a terrible show that is. Why would I invest in yours? Like, do you know how often I have that conversation?
It's got to be 10, 20 times.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Joey B, Jerry Buss equals Donald Trump West. Not at all. Jerry Buss was a legit pimp. He was a legitimate real estate investor. He was a legitimate guy that, he's responsible for a lot of greatness at USC. He's responsible for a lot of medical research. He's responsible for a lot of charities that are still ongoing in Los Angeles. When Jerry Buss was alive, he was, the guy was iconic. The end of the Buss family ownership with the Lakers is truly the end of an era in the NBA. Truly an end of an era. Big Blue Horses, if I remember correctly, Dr. Buss bought out Jack Kent Cooke for ownership. Do you guys remember Jack Kent Cooke? Do you guys understand what that name means? Like the absolute unbelievableness and stuff of that name. Yeah, I didn't. That was back in the day. And then you have to bring up Dan Snyder. Never mind. They're selling it for $10 billion. It's still part of the Lakers front office and collecting a check. How could you say no? You wouldn't say no.
No, you would not.
Ever. Jerry West wasn't an asshole Jerry was a very, very generous man. That was a good dude. Selling a franchise for 157 times its original purchase price. Yeah, those people are idiots, right?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
What are you talking about?
What?
What are you talking about? Larry Miller bought the Jazz for $22 million. Ryan Smith spent $1.6 billion. Another genius businessman, Larry H. Miller, LHM. Aloha, Monty and Jake, headed to Honolulu, Hawaii, watching the show on a plane. Hey, bud.
Nice job, dude.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you very much. Okay. Bro, I keep getting outstanding traffic ticket warrant issued for your arrest. Yeah, do you think the sheriff's department's going to text me when they have a warrant out for my arrest? Like, it's amazing to me. Click this link to pay fine immediately and avoid jail time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what this is. I better click on this link in this text message so that I don't, go to prison immediately. It is what it is. It is what it is. It just,
Yeah. Stupid.
Oh no.
What?
Oh, they're canceling the Thanksgiving Heroes ride because of Oh, the accident we talked about.
Damn.
The founder of Thanksgiving Heroes was involved in a bad motorcycle accident. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Keep Rob Adams in your thoughts. That is tough. He's a really good dude, you guys. He is a really, really good dude. So that's a bummer. We should check in on him and see how he's doing, because that is nothing to play with. Be careful on your motorcycles, you guys. Your motorcycles, your bicycles, please be careful. And if the worst happens, get to the Advocates at theadvocates.com. 24/7, 365. Clear, risk-free advice. That's what you need. You need somebody who knows how to fight insurance companies, because your insurance companies aren't going to give you what you need or what you're owed. You paid all those premiums. They should take care of you. They won't. That's why you need an advocate, somebody to fight for you at theadvocates.com. All right. If you're just tuning in, a lot of big news today. The LA Lakers have been sold to their minority owner, billionaire Mark Walter, who owns franchises across the globe. He's a minority owner of the Dodgers, the LA Sparks. Now he is the full-time owner of the Lakers. He is one of the owners of Chelsea Football Club. He's got Cadillac's F1 entry. Like, he's in NASCAR. He's in the Truck Series. This is a huge day. It is huge history in the NBA. And really, I think in American sports, when the Buss family no longer is the controlling owner of the LA Lakers.
Definitely a huge change.
Yeah, $10.9 billion is the price tag there. One of the other big stories that I want to get into today is Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12. Sources are telling us he is the leading voice killing the 4-4-2-2 college football playoff format. And it's very interesting when you hear these rumors. This is all tied to what Brett Yormark said the other week, I guess, on ESPN. Brett Yormark, and he also went on the Triple Option podcast, but he's talked a lot about the 5-11 versus 4-4-2. Here's Brett Yormark on the 4-4-2-2.
Concept was out there not too long ago where the Big Ten and the SEC had 4 guaranteed spots. The Big 12 and the ACC were only guaranteed 2. When you first saw that model, what went through your head? What went through your heart?
I didn't like it. And obviously that model's been out there for almost a year now. And I didn't like it because I just felt that it created a huge divide between us and those two conferences. Now, as you guys know, I have good self-awareness. I know where we reside in the world of college football. But I just felt that it put a line in the sand that didn't need to be there. I'm a firm believer in that if you create value, you should be rewarded. Earn it on the field, okay? Every year's a new year. And by the way, with settlement, in theory, it should be creating a level playing field across the board. So I didn't like.
Well, he makes his case there. I buy in a little more to Brett Yormark. Our sources told us that he put a group of minds together that included Jim Phillips at the ACC and many other voices, collectively saying, hey, we don't want a 4-4-2-2-2 format, because what does that do? That essentially limits the Big 12 and others, but the Big 12, in Brett Yormark's case, it essentially limits their access to the college football playoff, which is why I think Brett's been such a proponent of the 5-11.
Well, first and foremost, I like 16. More access is better for the Big 12 for sure. But I'm also about fairness, and there's been a lot of conversations out there about AQs. And, you know, from where I sit, and I know I speak on behalf of our coaches and our ADs, we want to earn it on the field. And I'm adamant about that. And I think a 5+11 format does that. It's fair. It's what our fans want. And they don't want an invitational. They want a true playoff system. And we have that right now. I thought last year going to a 12-team format was fantastic. It played out exactly how people had hoped. It was very dramatic. It created a lot of interest. Going to 16, I think, does more of that. But I think we need to put these multiple AQs, take it out of the conversation and focus on what's right for college football. And I think 5+11 does that, and that's our preference.
Well, and that is, I think, very, very smart. I think that's a very savvy take. And we've talked about this ad nauseum about what's better for college football. you better watch what you wish for here, because if you go to a 5-11, the SEC is going to play 9 conference games, and that is going to give them a lot more leverage in this conversation about strength of schedule. And I told you 2 weeks ago, the college football playoff is very aggressively moving to strength of schedule, strength of remaining schedule, and your record after that, your record against P4s. And if that's the case, it is going to be awfully difficult to overcome the abundance of quality, football clubs in the SEC. It is certainly going to hurt. And I think this is why the Big Ten and the SEC are at a dividing point here. I think it's really going to hurt the Big Ten because the Big Ten doesn't have depth. The Big Ten does not have a volume of teams that are competing at the top of college football. They have 2 to 3 teams every year. Well, the SEC wants to make the case that half that league should be in the college football playoff. And I think if they go to 9 conference games, it's going to be awfully difficult to argue against that.
Certainly. And I think that the SEC, the hard part is the SEC and the Big Ten are in agreement on the fact that, they would prefer to have the 4-4-2-2 model for obvious reasons. The problem is they're not going to be able to get that done without the vote of the ACC and the Big 12, who are not in agreement on that. So I think, personally, my opinion is I think there's going to be a lot of negotiation around, the criteria and the formula.
Excuse me, it's criteria.
I apologize.
Criteria.
The criteria and the formula to get into the CFP. And the SEC and the Big Ten are going to want that to be strength of schedule based. They're going to want it to be a thing where they can control, control how many teams they put in. They always want to be able to walk into the room and say, hey, look at the presentation. We had the best here. That means we should be making the most money, be in the best position.
And I think you look at this Lakers thing today. How does this tie into this discussion? Because private money's coming. And you have one consortium that paid $10.9 billion for the Lakers today. I'm telling you, it's happening. That money is coming into college sports and really college football specifically. And I don't know that there's anything you can do to stop that at this point. I don't know that there's anything we can do, to stop a super league. And I don't want to stop it. I think it'd be very good for college football. Put them in this separate entity as I have told you. And nobody's laughing at us now. Remember how all the other asshats on the other podcasts in the basement were all laughing at us saying we don't know what we're talking about when we said, hey, the SEC and the Big Ten are forming their own entity that breaks away from the NCAA. Yeah, not so funny now when we said that at Thanksgiving, is it? And you look at the fact that that's coming and it's going to be powered by private money.
Yep.
Because like you look at this Sacramento State situation where Sacramento State's trying to become an FBS football program as an independent, and they're not being allowed to do so because the rule is if you want to bump up to FBS, you have to have a conference invite, which I think is ridiculous. But the money that it takes to go up from FCS to FBS is enormous. What do you think it's going to take to compete in a Super League? Like the finances in a 5-11, and again, I know you don't know I don't know what I'm talking about. And
you're an SEC homer.
Yeah, trust me, bro. Yeah. Trust me, bro. And I'm a Utah Utes fan all of a sudden.
Right.
Trust me, bro. I hear daily, every single day, if the SEC goes to 9 games, their revenue will increase in football significantly because that 9th game is an extra game on everybody's campus. That game is meaningful. A lot of those games will be on national TV. And a lot of those teams will get more access to the college football playoff, especially because the only way they're going to 9 games is what? If the playoff goes to 16. Who told you that? That'd be us. We broke that story first. The only way the SEC is going to 9 games is if it goes 5-11. And now what do you know? All of a sudden, nobody wants 4-4-2-2-2.
And listen to the Brett Yormark ESPN bite. What did he say at the beginning?
Yeah,
I like more access for the Big 12. I like 16.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, I like 16. More access is better for the Big 12 for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
he's in
but-
alignment on that.
But is more access for the SEC good for the Big 12?
No.
No.
But the problem is they don't have a choice. They don't have a say in the matter.
So now all of a sudden, and this is why I will continue to preach and I will continue to tell you every single day, watch what you wish for. The unintended consequences of, they should play 9 games, Monty. Okay. Did you think that through before it came out of your mouth? Did you? Because if the SEC plays 9 games, they're going to dominate the 16-team field.
And if they don't play 9 games, they're still going to dominate the 14-team field.
Because you look at Greg Sankey and listen to what Greg Sankey said about strength of schedule.
Whether people want to agree with it or not, that's up to them. We can go through the analytics and show the rigor of our schedule is different than anyone else's, period. And we had a learning session in September at the CFP about strength of schedule, and strength of schedule isn't everything, but it is an important factor. I remember very clearly one of the messages was, if you play the top-ranked team and the 130th ranked team, those 2 games average out to 65.5. If you play 65 and 66, they average out to 65.5. And so the advisor said, you're just as well playing 65 and 66. Here's my problem. But for maybe 2 teams in a year, we don't have 65 or 66, and everybody else has a group.
He's not playing around. And I think, and I don't know that we'll ever know the hows and whys. How many times has Greg Sankey argued for something and lost? I can't really remember a time on this magnitude. Was he really fighting that hard for the 4-4-2-2-2? Was he? I'm not sure he was. Because 5-11 with 9 conference games, absolutely the hammer belongs to the SEC. So I'm just warning you. Watch what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Choi, what about them Florida Panthers? Great win. Will Connor McDavid be an Edmonton Oiler in the long term? Because I am of the belief that the Edmonton Oilers will not let him walk away. And I can't imagine the Edmonton Oilers trading him.
They better do something then, dude.
I think the Edmonton Oilers will offer Connor McDavid one of the largest contracts we've ever heard of. And if that happens, they had better go out and build a team around him, because the minute that Connor McDavid's out there saying, I don't want to be in Edmonton anymore, and he's bitching and moaning, and I don't care what the size of his contract, the line is, they don't have enough space for the line and how long it will be to trade for Connor McDavid. And what we saw, what we saw in the Stanley Cup Finals was an abomination from the Edmonton Oilers. Again.
I believe the stat is he has 90 points in the Stanley Cup Final, now all time in his career. And that is the most points for a player who's never won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Eric Wasikowski, money is greater than depth. If Notre Dame joins in 20, why do we do this every day, dude? You have this unhealthy obsession with Notre Dame joining the Big Ten. There is no emphasis. There is no reason. There is no lever that you can pull to make Notre Dame join the Big Ten. If that was possible, they would have done it already. Why, if you're Notre Dame, and I've gone over this on the show, but it's Neanderthal thinking that thinks Notre Dame is going to somehow be leveraged into joining the Big Ten. They'll never join a conference unless they can't schedule. Check their future schedules. They're pretty well booked with huge names. They can't recruit. I'm going to say they're recruiting just fine. In fact, they're winning in recruiting in portal. Or they can't get a TV deal. Well, I'm going to say, now call me crazy, they're in business with NBC, CBS, and ESPN. Did I mention that they have, I think it's 11 games in the next 4 years on Fox Sports? So I'm just curious.
Asking for a friend.
And then what's the hammer? Well, that's all well and good, but they can't get into the college football playoff. Oh, turns out they can. They're guaranteed a spot. And now if it goes 5-11, you're removing the conference championship thing. Bro, there's no reason for them to join a conference. And it is usually Big Ten fans who understand they are not near the SEC. They're not even in the same zip code, right? You live in South Central, they live in Beverly Hills. That's how far apart the Big Ten and the SEC are. There's no reason for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. It hurts them. It does not help them. It limits their revenues. It limits their scheduling. It limits their availability. There's no reason to do it. None whatsoever. They have a guaranteed spot every year. Why would they change it? Why would they change it? There's no reason to. Notre Dame, our mother. That's exactly right. Jake, where's that soundbite?
You know,
Jake doesn't play.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Thank you. Jake doesn't play sound bites anymore. 2030 grant of rights would give Big Ten schools close to $100 million each. Who gives a
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
They're making that at a minimum right now. And they're not breaking
You're so
news.
damn stubborn, dude.
Breaking news. They're making that money right now. And they're not playing basketball games.
Come on, man. What is we talking about?
In that little tournament in March, Notre Dame doesn't play basketball games. Their revenue generation from merch on its own is more than the Big Ten media deal. Do you understand that? Do you understand that their TV deals, the money that they make in big game matchups? Dude, go look at the way their finances break out, and we'll never even. I would also remind you, we'll never even know the top end of what they make because they don't report their revenue on ticket sales. They don't report their revenue on concession sales or day of game merch sales. And that's because they're a private institution owned by the church. So they don't have to. And when I say they're making that money, I think they're making gobs more than that money. There's no reason for them to join your conference.
Nope.
They're on. Do you guys understand the luxury it is to be a Notre Dame fan? I never have to wonder if their game's on TV. Every Notre Dame game is on TV. National TV. Every one of them. I can get it on my phone. I can get it on a stream. I can get it on a regular TV. If I walk into a bar, do I have to ask them to put on the Notre Dame game? No. You know why? Because the other conferences don't compete with Notre Dame's home windows. And when they're not playing a home game, who do you think they're playing? Like, has anybody, and I know you hate facts because guys like you don't use Google. I mean, that much is very clear. Does anybody know Notre Dame's? Have you guys looked at their schedule and where their away games are? They're at Miami. Well, damn, they won't be on NBC. Yeah, because the game's on ABC. Texas A&M. Yeah, that game's on the Cock and on NBC.
Oh, I win. Google me.
Purdue. Yeah, that game's on NBC too. At Arkansas. Hey, damn. ABC.
Present.
Boise State. Well, Monty.
God, Monty.
That
Monty.
means CBS Sports Network? No, NBC. The Cock. Both of them. Like you look at USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse. I think their one game that may not be on national television is NC State. And that's by NBC's choice because Notre Dame is now going to do a Peacock-only game every single year. And I don't know if you guys know this. Now, I know I'm not the smartest guy, and my sources are trust me, bro. Has anybody looked at their future schedules? And again, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. How about 2026? Does anybody know who Notre Dame plays in 2026? Well, let's see. Wisconsin, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Navy, USC, at Florida State, Miami, SMU, and Syracuse. 2 years into the future, every one of those games is on national TV. ESPN, ABC, CBS, and NBC for their home games. 2 years into the future. Well, but Monty, that's only 2 years. Okay, how about 2027? Did you guys know their schedule is pretty much full for 2027? Because they added Clemson and Virginia Tech. Anybody else? Anybody else want to negotiate? Right? And then, did I mention in 2028 their schedule's full? Because that's the year that they play Texas at Notre Dame Stadium. Anybody else want to negotiate?
Nope.
Oh, they're going to join a conference. Yeah, my ass. And Eric, I really appreciate it because you just make this job so much easier. Because there's no reason for them ever to. Sparsh. Pac-12 rumor is $70 million annually. There is no rumor that says it's $70 million annually. And anybody telling you $70 million has no idea what they're talking about. There is nobody saying it's $70 million. Nobody. Jim Choi, the new pope will not allow them to join a conference. I believe that's the truth.
Yeah, I think that's true, bro.
Kenneth Maynor, the American would be smart to add Coastal Carolina from the Sun Belt, emerging athletic program, and tearing up the College World Series. Well, it'd be nice if Coastal would start winning football games again. That would be great. Sparsh says Texas Tech, Baylor both looking good. Baylor's not looking good. Not good for ASU. Michigan has to rebuild, but with some luck could make a playoff and get blown out. Well, unless they get hammered by the... Okay. I love this thing where people come into our show and they're like, oh, Monty, it's $70 million, $8 million a year. Show me your source. You're saying it's reports. Okay, who's reporting it? What would you... Yeah, anyway. Timothy O'Hara. Maybe the guy that bought the Lakers should buy the Dallas Cowboys so they can start winning. No, that's staying in the family. Joey B. Monty, if you made $100K a month, would you be able to move to Maui and afford the HOA fees there? I would. Ho'ole. Kihei. Kaanapali average HOA fee $2,200 a month. Bro, if you are buying a unit on Kaanapali Beach,
yeah,
or if you are buying a unit again at Ho'ole in Kihei, you're bitching about the HOA fees, you shouldn't be buying that unit. That means you can't afford it. Now, I can tell you, Mrs. Monty and I were up in Park City and we had a conversation about HOAs this past weekend. I don't know that I'll ever buy into an HOA again.
It's painful, man.
HOAs suck. Can't stand it. Joey B says, San Marcos, Texas, HOA fee $80 a year.
Yeah, right.
I've heard that. Sparsh, good thing ASU is in the Big 12 and has a media deal. Dude, ASU just went to the college football playoff.
Why are we boned over ASU?
Because, Sparsh, I don't know what your motive here is, ripping ASU and saying that the Pac-12 is getting $8 million a year. Good luck with that. Just trying my best to make you go off into a Michigan derangement syndrome tangent. I don't need to. I don't need to.
Your problem, Eric, is that it's not derangement syndrome to say that Michigan's going to get piped by the NCAA and you're not going to be very good in football for a few years.
Jeremiah Champion, I hate HOAs, dude. I think HOAs are one of the... I live in an HOA currently that does absolutely nothing for me. And I not only have one, I have multiple HOAs where I live. And the larger community HOA, like the community I live in is so large that there's the master HOA that handles all the green spaces and the lakes and the bridges and your mom's waxing, like all of that. And then there's the smaller HOA that handles my area of residence.
It's ridiculous.
The smaller HOA is absolutely fraudulent.
HOAs fall under the list of things in life that are an absolute scam. Insurance, HOAs.
And good HOAs are hundreds of dollars a month. And really what it does is it pays your water bill and your light bill. Like if your streets are lit or you have green spaces with lights in them, that's what it pays for. Pays for some landscaping. Okay, great. $2,200 a month for an HOA on Kaanapali Beach is just so some folks can get paid.
And to keep a certain level of folk out.
I think that's probably true. The Homeowners Association is a cartel. Yes, it is. Not that I don't understand their point. Right.
Yeah.
I hate HOAs. I agree with you. HOAs suck. Thank you, Shouty. They do. It's truly one of the scams.
Yeah,
of the
it's
world.
a scam, dude.
Right. It is truly one of the scams of the world. HOAs, and again, I live in Utah, for those of you who don't know. I live in Salt Lake City, and HOAs are pervasive here. It is in the house I used to own here before I sold it and moved to the one I live in now. Was not in an HOA. I think I sold it for 300 something, and it's worth 800 something now. I mean, just drive a roofing nail through my big toe.
Mm-hmm.
It's so painful. So painful. HOAs can be such a pain in the ass. Mine nitpicks over the most ridiculous of things. I got to tell you, mine does not. Mainly because they don't enforce anything.
Yeah, it's purely a money scheme.
It is. And in our case, like I talked about this on the show, late last year, we paid a $30,000 assessment because they filed a lawsuit they should never have filed, lost the lawsuit, and then had to do repairs on the homes in the community that were poorly built. And you can pay the assessment over years, and it'll be about $50,000, or you can pay it in a lump sum, and it'll be $30,000. We chose $30,000, but it's just a rip-roaring pain in the ass.
Yes,
and you know that another assessment will happen.
It's completely out of your control. That's what bothers.
That's right,
me, dude. That's what bothers.
There's
me.
nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. HOAs are just another excuse for petty people to hold power over others. Absolutely right. Chewy Gonzalez, there are a racist policy to keep neighborhoods homogenous. Okay. I don't know that it's got anything to do with race, quickly. But it's fine. Joey B. Monty, did the HOA need to improve your putting green in the backyard? No.
Nope.
They have no say over what I do in my backyard because my backyard is fenced.
But I will say, when you did the hot tub, there was talks about whether that had to be approved or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. It is. It's fine. Timothy O'Hara, if Sanders' father wasn't Dion, he would not have been drafted. Oh, now he wouldn't have been drafted.
I'm not.
Why are we doing? How does Shedeur Sanders come up?
I get it. He got a speeding ticket. I get it. He got a speeding ticket last night. Who cares?
Who cares? Why does it matter that Shedeur got a speeding ticket?
I got news for you. Every dude has done 100 miles an hour on the freeway, whether you want to admit that or not.
Yeah, I agree. Boyd Lake, HOA's March of the Karens. Yeah. I hate HOAs. It's one of those things that I'll never be able to get away from as long as I live in Utah, which is, bros, I'm warning you. If I ever get to 100,000 a month, you will never see me.
Yeah.
You will never hear from me. You will never see me on social. I'm out. I will stop. All I need is 100,000 a month and you'll never hear from me again.
Yeah.
And God willing, and the creek don't rise. Backwoods sexy Mike Smith. JD Wicker approves of HOAs. I've heard that.
I am sure he does, dude. I'm sure he does.
Oh my God. Sparse. My HOA is pretty good. Community owned, weekly or monthly emails. Fixes any issue within 24 hours. Then again, it was made in 2017. Older HOAs, the more fuckery gets added.
100%, dude.
Truth. Fuckery.
You're so fucked.
It's 100%
so
true, dude.
True.
It's 100% true.
Oh my God. Wasikowski, McDavid should play with Ovechkin. Why? Why would you want a communist on your hockey team? I would not. McDavid needs to go somewhere where the money is clearly invested correctly. And you look at the way the Panthers are built, they're 7 forwards deep at a minimum. They've got 9 D-men at a minimum. I mean, the biggest difference is, with all due respect to Stu Skinner, I mean, Bobrovsky just outclasses him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 6 or 7 easy goals. I mean, I love Bouchard on the point as like a third D-man pairing. How many times did he get beat at the blue line?
Multiple times.
I mean, and you don't have anybody of note enforcing on that team. How many hits did McDavid take at the point? Like, come on. HOA didn't care enough about the putting green, but they cared about the fence, colored trees, flowers, bushes, and the color of the mulch.
Yeah, and by the way, don't forget the height of the bushes.
You know, it's frustrating. Just buy land, build a house on land with no HOA.
Thank you.
We talk about that all the
you.
time. A Monty compound with multiple par 3 holes on it.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Absolutely. Hey, Monty, what is your opinion about the fight last night in the Indiana Fever game? We'll get to that in about 20. You want to talk about it now? Okay.
Or
Yeah, we can do it. Let's do it now. It's
All
fine.
right.
Did you guys see this last night? Obviously, we have to be careful, but here's the video of Katie Clark.
Hey, Katie.
Getting roughed up by the Connecticut Suns. Essentially, there was no punishment doled out for that.
Mm-hmm.
No ejection. And the game went on to be an absolute fracas. Flagrant foul. How is that not a flagrant foul? That play, that non-call, and I talk about this all the time, and it's really prevalent in 2 sports, hockey and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
The calls you do not make are the ones that lead to problems. It's not too many fouls. It's the ones you let go. An obvious flagrant foul worthy of an ejection, and you don't call it. What did you think was going to happen? You knew the players would adjudicate this on their own. You have somebody like Sophie Cunningham, not a rookie. Not a rookie. She knows the score. She knows how special Caitlin Clark is. You're not going to body up Caitlin Clark and her teammates do nothing about it. My biggest question is, what in the world is the WNBA thinking with this? This is your best player in the league, who, when she was out, ticket prices, ticket revenue, and ratings plummeted. So you're letting somebody body her? That easily could have been an injury. And you're not going to call a flagrant and eject anybody when your meal ticket is the one getting bodied.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the hard part is, the WNBA has one of these people, right? They only have Caitlin Clark.
That's it.
The NBA's got a lot of these guys that they can kind of play around with. And I think, the reality is, what are we doing right now? Well, we're talking about the WNBA.
We are.
Because Sophie Cunningham showed up, and I love it. I love people. How many people, how many Gen Xers are just dying for the Jordan Rule type play to come back? I mean, this is what we are as basketball fans.
But what was the best part of this whole situation? Caitlin Clark nailing threes in their face and letting them know. That was the best part of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the true win, because her dropping that bomb and having old girl at 3 in Sheldon's face and holds it and then is telling her, you can't guard me. That was an amazing moment.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just asking, what is the WNBA thinking not protecting Caitlin Clark? It's outrageous.
Yes and no, though. I agree. You got to protect her. She's the best thing you have going in the league. But this is what the league needs. They need this type of drama. And I think to me, it's a razor thin line. She can't get hurt, but this is unequivocally good for the league.
Oh,
there's
no
question
doubt.
It's good for the league.
No doubt.
So the question really is not why are they not protecting her? The question to me really is, hey, how far can they let the nightly, Caitlin Clark beating continue before she gets frustrated or too frustrated to put up with it, and her teammates start complaining? That's what it is. Because, there are a lot of games that the Fever play to where they're blowing a team out because she's just so good. But then there are other teams who New York, who are going to get after Caitlin Clark physically and try to intimidate her that way. And it was nice to finally see someone stick up for her, I have to say. And it doesn't surprise me that it was Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham has been around the block. She's very experienced. She knows how to do it. It's now come out that, and everyone's all over this right now on X, that she was like a Taekwondo blue belt as a kid, and is super confident being physical with other players. It's just what the WNBA needs to be able to push things forward. And And I loved it. I think that no, to answer the question, no, I did not watch this live. Yes,
I did.
I'm here for the X highlights and everything that way. So I think it's good for the league. I just think they have to be really careful about how much of this they allow to happen, because you can't, because like if she's full sprinting down the court, gets up in the air for a layup and someone takes her out, that's awful for your product. You can't have that.
Yeah, I am very curious to see how this all plays out. Wasikowski was watching the Stanley Cup game live, didn't even hear about WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here's the problem, though, dude. How much of the Stanley Cup did I watch last night? Yeah, about 10 minutes. And then I turned it off because the Oilers were absolutely embarrassing themselves.
Game was over. Totally agree. Fight on. Clark got mugged and got a technical foul and got stabbed in the eye. I can't believe it. It was horribly officiated. O'Hara says, I would buy the Indiana Fever just because of Katie Clark. That's exactly right. Boyd Lake, Cunningham is a straight-out assassin. This is what you want from your team. And I think that's what's so special about basketball and team sports in general. Same in hockey. Nothing has to be said. You know what your job is, right? Like, I think it is a travesty that they are not protecting her. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Toot Pants asked the average person to name 2 people in the WNBA, protect the one and only. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not about the rest of the players, and people can get pissy about that, but that's the reality of it. Is
what?
As consumers who have like a 2-second attention span, I just want to see the fights. I want to see the drama. I want to see her nailing a bunch of threes. Like, she's going to be the best player the WNBA has ever had, and I don't think anybody really disputes
She
that.
might be that already.
She may be that already. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I think I love the drama. I do. I don't love WNBA basketball, generally speaking. For me, it's not about the fact that they're women or anything like that. It's just too slow for me. It's too plotting. I don't like the lack of explosiveness. It's just not my deal. But this is my deal. I love the drama. Love to see her teammates finally, having her back. And yeah, I love the fact that she's feeding them crow, bro. Like, hey, I'm going to knock this down right in your face, and then I'm going to tell you about it over and over and over again. And then you're going to go home after losing and regret messing with me. Like, that's what sports is about, dude.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is really important that these moments happen. I don't disagree, Joey B. It's ratings. I don't disagree at all. Jim Choi, WNBA going to ride the Clark's back all the way to the back, literally her back. Yeah, slip disc on that foul. Maybe we should sit Caitlin Clark on Paul Finebaum. That would work.
Maybe.
That would work. Sophie won't back down, and I like it. I love it. I love it. Fight on Natties. I'm a diehard Laker fan, but I have no love for LeBron. But if you did what they did to Caitlin, to him, it would have been multiple suspensions easily. No question about it. They protect the merchandise in the NBA. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Even the commentators covering the game said they should have ejected the girl who body checked Caitlin. It was a no-brainer, right? It was a no-brainer. I don't know what they were looking at. It's amazing. Choi, it's the great storyline, and Clark sells tickets and ratings. The league don't care. They lost too much money in the past. Well, I don't think they're worried about what they lost in the past. She's the meal ticket. And I just am, that's what's amazing by it. Michael Peck, Clark will generate ratings one way or the other. I guess so. Joey B, WNBA, Cobra Kai, Taekwondo, and hoops.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Lakers went and got Maurice Lucas as an enforcer. They did. They have to, you know what? I just don't understand why these big entities make stupid business decisions. Ejecting that gal is a business decision.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it is unquestionably the right thing to do. If you think about the major sports, Caitlin Clark is NBA, WNBA. She's LPGA and PGA Tour because now she plays in all the pro-ams and the celebrity events. She's really close with Steph Curry now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you start looking at her star, it's growing. If she's at the Pacer games and rooting for the Pacer, like, she gets it. And if you look across And the WNBA is probably a harsh example because they don't have a lot of stars. That doesn't mean they're not talented. This is the Angel Reese argument that you're just not gravitational like Caitlin Clark is. I say this about Cooper Flagg. And I think the NBA needs Cooper Flagg to do what Caitlin Clark has done. Because, again, when we look at Victor Wembanyama, and Big Daddy Magic today sending me videos that I should play for you, but I don't need Buddha Wemby. I don't need it. Right? Like, this is not what I need out of Victor Wembanyama. And he's back.
And now we have Airport Wemby walking around. Great, dude.
I don't need that. Not when I've got viewership declining in the NBA. Right? Like, I've got viewership numbers declining. I don't need that out of Victor Wembanyama. I need championships.
I need weightlifting and workouts all summer long.
I just am telling you, it is really important that Cooper Flagg is a hit for the Dallas Mavericks. I cannot tell you how critical that is. It is hugely important. Big Blue Horses, WNBA leadership has to decide that it's a collective, not an individual. Clark is never going to get credit. As an individual, she's expendable. She is not at all expendable. She is in no way expendable.
No.
None whatsoever. It's just not the case. And if you think she's expendable, you are out of your mind. It is, she's not at all. Is that Loner Phone? Did you create a new account?
Wow, that is.
How's the Philippines treating you?
Fresh burner, or what's the deal, dude?
Eric Wasikowski, Angel Reese and her 2 points.
See,
she's a double machine. It's not that she scores 2 points. She's shooting one of the lowest shooting percentage in the history of all basketball. Not just women's basketball, all basketball.
Yeah.
She has got one of the lowest shooting percentages. And I don't know how you like, what would it take for you to regularly watch the WNBA?
Not other stuff to be on. Honestly, more time allocated to watching TV, you know? I mean, because that's the thing. Like, if the NBA is not on, if there's not, I'm at a point with it time-wise where it's like, if there's not a must-watch thing on TV, that I'm probably going to watch a show or just watch something.
Yeah.
But that's the struggle. Like with the NBA Finals, it's not a good enough game right now where I'm watching it, from the beginning to the end, no leaving the game. I'm probably watching, 5 to 8 minutes at a time. As you head into the half, all right, I'm going to tune you out, watch an episode, come back, pick it up. And I'm not missing much. That's the problem right now for sports, is like, I didn't miss anything with the Stanley Cup last night.
I agree with that.
I didn't miss anything with the absolute embarrassment out of, the Halaban and his torn calf. Like, I didn't miss, there's nothing that I have to watch. Like the US Open, great example. Didn't really miss anything until Sunday in the last 7 holes. It wasn't like, oh man, I really got to watch this all the way through.
I really have lost any love for Wyndham Clark, by the way. Dude, some of the antics that he pulled at the U.S. Open that we didn't even know about. Apparently, in the second round, he smashed a bunch of signs on the way to the scoring tent. Then tore up the locker room. And, come on.
Be better, dude.
Come on. Stadium Guy James. It's amazing how jealous some of the women in the W are of Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese would have more fans if she would get rid of the fake eyelashes. What does that got to do with anything? Nobody dislikes.
Dude. I want to give you guys credit. You do such a great job of every day coming in here and saying something asinine like this.
Her fake eyelashes have nothing to do with why Angel Reese is disliked. She's disliked because she's just a villainous. She plays a villain. She does not shoot well, so she gets mocked for that. And she's gotten blown up repeatedly by Caitlin Clark. And she keeps talking about how she sells tickets too. And the answer is you don't. And to talk about her eyelashes is
stupid.
Yeah. Come on, man. Jim Choi, Cooper Flag, the next Larry Bird. No, he needs to be far more dynamic for his time. And it's not a white or black player thing. It is a dynamic thing. And if Caitlin Clark was a black woman, she would be just as popular as she is as a white woman. But I'm telling you, Cooper Flag is remarkably important. Monty, you missed it. She's expendable to the collective. No, she is not. The WNBA is invisible without Caitlin Clark.
Agreed.
We need to stop this narrative. This is the narrative that is wrong. The WNBA, from a management standpoint, has to watch out for, if you want to call it the collective, the group, the entire league. But it also has to do a much better job of protecting Caitlin Clark. The NBA is a master of this. You don't have to like it. She better get more foul calls. She better be at the line more, and you better protect her in situations like that last night. She is in no way, shape, or form is she expendable to the collective. And I think the majority of that collective recognizes that. And I think, more to the point, Angel Reese recognizes that. And the girl that fouled her last night, who's now 0-12 against Caitlin Clark in college and the WNBA. You guys realize that this gal is 0-12 against Caitlin Clark. Do you think that's why she's pissed off?
Man,
I'm going to say it is. Loner Phone says, on my iPad in Thailand. Excuse me. I said the Philippines.
Right.
My bad.
Okay.
My
okay.
bad.
Yes.
My bad.
Have you been enjoying Thailand?
Yeah. How humid is it? Rectally.
There is, let me send this to you really quick. It's funny you bring up humidity. I don't know if anybody's been seeing this. This just came out this afternoon. The humidity, and I don't know, you should look up where Vail is in Colorado. Like, what
I saw this map.
Dude, the humidity, bro.
I have real concerns. about the weather this year. And I'm not trying to have a Trump conversation or knocking NOAA and the National Weather Service. And you guys, I am telling you that we are not prepared for hurricane season. And if you live in Florida, my guys, you had better be ready, because if Ron DeSantis, who now unbelievably, Ron DeSantis has turned into the anti-orange guy.
What?
It's amazing. But if Ron DeSantis doesn't have his ducks in a row, you guys, look at this right here. Look at the humidity. It's not just that it's going to be hot. Look at the extreme humidity across the country. Look at all that humidity. And I am going to be in Vail, Colorado, starting tomorrow morning. And thankfully, it is on the less humid side in Vail. Can you imagine, those of us that grew up in the Midwest, can you imagine being in very high humidity and 100-degree temperatures in Chicago? And the issue is the heat wave that we are seeing now and the humidity that is going to fuel the hurricanes on the Atlantic coast. Boys, that's some scary stuff right there. That is scary. Now, if you live in Southern California, you're going to feel a good bit of humidity. But you look at the PNW, you look at Utah, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Nevada.
Yeah.
Nicely not humid. So I leave town tomorrow in Utah, and this is the amazing thing. Tomorrow in Utah, it's going to be 104 degrees. We never get that hot. Never do we get that hot. If you're in Texas, please protect yourself. Oak State James, everybody in Texas, please protect yourself. Bro, this is nothing to play with. Jim Choi, Thailand girls say, stop. What are you doing? Thailand is it rainy season in Thailand right now? That would be a bummer. That's a Texas size no for me. That's gonna be a no for me.
I'm gonna go ahead and head out.
Hey fam, that's gonna be a no for me.
Yeah.
We were saying that.
To the window, to the wall, to the sweat drops down my balls.
You're not even kidding,
Stay
bro.
hard.
You are not kidding.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Fat Jesus, can you imagine? Look at that humidity in Arizona. And that's not high humidity. And it's still, it's a dry heat. Apparently it's not. I just can't, you guys.
Dude, the patches in Phoenix are high. Like,
I cannot imagine being in Texas, Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. Nah, bro. Nah, I'm fine. Mobile, Georgia, Florida. Look at Florida.
That's what I'm saying. Every time you say you want to live in Florida, nah, I'm good, dude. Nah, screw that, bro.
Damn.
I'm good.
Oh, did I mention it goes all the way up the eastern seaboard into Canada and the Canadian wildfires that are currently burning? And the biggest issue is people are like, oh, great, in Utah, we're not humid. Yeah, it's going to be dry. It's called kindling.
Oh.
The fires we're going to have this coming week, I'm terrified of it. I thankfully am not in a fire zone. We live in a valley, but we're in a bowl because there's mountains everywhere, north, south, east, and west. There's mountains, and it's going to be hellaciously hot and dry, and there's not enough water to fix it. I am terrified. 95 in Florida, but 10 degrees extra in the FedEx truck. Fuck. That is so bad, boss.
I'm good.
Dude, how are you doing that?
Swamp ass.
Oh my, do you guys, are those trucks air conditioned?
Probably, I mean, they may be, but the door is open so much.
Yeah, because you're in and out of it.
You're in and out of it all day, so you're not getting the AC.
Damn. That's brutal, dude. Eric, be careful, man. Loner phone back on his original one. It's crazy humid. Golf is uncomfortable if you do not tee up by 6 a.m., right? The beach is amazing. People are friendly. I feel safe and heard one siren in 5 days. I could live here. Everybody says that.
Yeah.
That you can live there because I would love to go to Bali, but it's such a long trip right now. Like crazy. You know.
Okay, what is James saying right there? Breaking news, what?
Jason Bradford is leaving Oak State. Yeah, he's going to TCU.
I thought everything was kosher in Stillwater. I thought everything was fine, dude.
Well, they hired these amazing coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I thought all the players were staying. I mean, you know,
stalwartness.
Yeah, I mean, just, great program and,
Haas Hengy.
I thought the mullet had everything, on lock there,
I didn't, I saw that tweet yesterday where he was, this is the one right here. Let me get it for you. This is not breaking news, by the way. Did your sideline reporter friend send this to you a few minutes ago? You should probably tell him, hey, let's go quicker than that. But
can you do something for me?
I'm unintentionally an asshole, and I apologize.
What?
It's actually, and I just lied to you because it's very intentional. No. Here's your guy, Jason Bradford. No longer in Stillwater. Like James, at some point, you're gonna understand. I'm not. I'm not.
Is your arm tired, dude? Like, does it ever get old being right about things? Like, come on.
I'm not talking to the sideline reporter.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things where I can only warn you guys for so long that Oak State is in a really bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oak State is a team that, hey, listen, and if they somehow rip off a bunch of dudes and they get wins this year, more power to you. The chance that they win 5 games is not good. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have great wide receivers. Tight end group is better than your wide receiver group. Your offensive line is not exponentially better, and your defense is going to be very bad. Very, very bad. And I can just sit here and tell you repeatedly, man, like the portal, Mike Gundy does not want to use the portal. And until he fully embraces it, you're in real trouble here. Rainy season, June through October, Thailand like Florida, 1 hour at range yesterday. Dude, don't come back home.
Yeah.
Make a life there, loaner phone. And I'm not.
There have been a lot of people who have done that, man.
Loaner, I'm telling you, dude. Be brave. Have courage, man. And I know it's scary sometimes. And if you want to make it, make it. Burn the boats, my guy. That's the saying. If you want to make this island of yours sustainable, burn the boats. It's the only way to go all in, right? Because once you burn the boats, you can't get off the island. Go all in. Jeremiah Champion. He's got a wedding planner. If and only if you guys find yourself in Pueblo, Colorado, go check out Bingo Burger. Don't believe we'll be in Pueblo. I don't think we'll go past Vail. But I appreciate the recommendation. I love the mountains of Colorado. Jake said to me, same dirt. I'll just stay in Salt Lake. I'm like, dude, okay. I invited Jake to go to Colorado this weekend. I was going to take him to Eagle Vale Golf Club, and it's going to be amazing. He's like, no, I'm staying home, bro. Dogs and shit. Okay. I there's just something different. The next time I go, I want to stay in Aspen because I've never been to Aspen. I want to go to Vail, but next time I want to go to Aspen.
Mm-hmm.
And Aspen's far more expensive. It's far longer to get to just because of the way you have to go to get to it. But I think it's 90 minutes from Vail. So it's not like you're just going to visit. I just love the mountains of Colorado. I love it. Fight on, Natties. I live in Coachella Valley. We have the Salton Sea nearby. The humidity is crazy. You guys remember when the Salton Sea was like a vacation destination? And yeah, then everybody died. Hurricane season sucks. Yes, it does. And I'm with you guys mentally, man. Dudes. Eric in the FedEx truck, everybody, Maury Alvarez, Jimmy in Boca, our guy Jimmy in Boca, who I haven't heard from in a minute, but everybody in Florida. I love you guys, man. Please be safe. Hurricane season, FEMA is not funded. They are not ready. And the thing that scares me most is they're talking about all these guys that got fired from the NOAA. Essentially the ones that say, hey, here's when the hurricane's going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
They fired all those guys. And they're all saying you have no system in place to forecast when a hurricane is going to hit because you fired all the scientists who were in charge of that. And it's terrifying in a place like Florida. You got to really, please be careful. Speaking of Maury Alvarez, those trucks have WD-40 AC windows down at 40 miles an hour. Can you imagine that?
Bro, that's wild.
I mean, all of the Amazon drivers, FedEx, mail people, UPS. We have a ton of UPS drivers on the show. Our mail delivery guys. You look at Aaron Wilson in Lubbock. He's a mailman. He's literally a mailman. Be safe. Drink your water. Stay hydrated. Jim Choi, ain't Aspen for the rich and famous people? Yeah, what's your point?
You saying Monty's not rich and famous?
That's how dare you. Yeah, Aspen's dollars, dude. There's no doubt. Lot of retired single guys from the West go to Thailand and Philippines. Okay. You're giving me a hard time. It's all good. We'll go bet on that not getting to 6 games. Will you bet on that not getting? I'm saying 6-6 or 7-5. If I'm right, will you send a couple of Cougar tails? No. Nope. I hope you're right. The Big 12 needs you to be right. The Big 12 don't need no 6-6, bruh. The Big 12 needs like 8-9 wins. That's what the Big 12 needs. You can't have Oklahoma State being a crap football team again. Can't have Utah. Can't have Baylor. Right? And dude, I'm telling you, you need it. Jeremiah Champion. Yep, I remember reading news articles that said more people are leaving the Aspen area because of how expensive it is getting there. It's outrageous. Yeah. It's outrageous. Loner Phoner. Sharpie will not alter the trajectory of a storm. We tried that already. There you go. There you go, dudes. It is.
I just think it's gonna be really rough. When the Cat 4s and Cat 5s inevitably show up this hurricane season, people are gonna be in a really bad place, bro. I'm just telling you.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we have a very light season.
I hope it doesn't either, but
yeah, Jim Choi, you're not wrong. Big 12 needs Arizona. What do you guys make of this Brett Yormark thing? Because I know we had breaking news there, but sources are telling us that Brett Yormark put a coalition together to kill the 4-4-2-2-2. Do you guys believe? Do you think it's better to be a 5-11 or a 4-4-4-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2?
Right.
Do you guys believe a 4-11 or a 5-11 versus a 4-4-2-2-2 is better? I personally think if you're the Big 12, I agree you need the 5-11 because you need wins on the field to matter. Because if it goes 5-11, understand the equation here. If it goes 5 automatics and then 11 at large, that's what that means. Because you'll have the P4 and Notre Dame, right? If Notre Dame's in the 16. And then you're going to have 1 G5. And then you're going to have 10. So I ask, again, do you think that's good for you? Because I think it's the only path forward if you believe in strength of schedule and winning games. Because the other one would have been 4 from the Big 10, 4 from the AC, or 4 from the SEC. Do some math. That's 8, half the field. 2 from the ACC for 10, 2 from the Big 12 for 12, 1 from Notre Dame for 13, 1 from the G5 for 14, and then 2 at-large bids. That's very limiting.
Yeah,
that means you're only getting 2 in.
Yeah, and the message it sends, about your stature to the big boys is rough.
And the thing that worries me, you guys, is this really favors the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Notre Dame fan, again, I get to say, I don't have a dog in the fight. We're in. If we're in the top 16 teams, we're in.
But and I think the ugly truth is, they need to do the 5-11 model, but the problem is the SEC is still going to dominate the other 11, and the Big 10 is still going to dominate the other 11 slots. That's you're basically trading the worst of two evils, essentially. You're saying, okay, we don't want two automatic bids in. But, we're going to take one less automatic bid and the wins have to matter on the field. But the problem with that is now we're going to lean on the committee and what the key metric is with strength of schedule and everything.
Yeah.
To justify, because the SEC is going to say, okay, well, if we're doing 5-11, then strength of schedule has to matter. And we're obviously going to dominate the strength of schedule conversation, which then leads us right down the path of, okay, the Big 12 is guaranteed 1 in, but they're not guaranteed 2 in. And some years they're just going to get the 1 and that's it. And I think that's really dangerous.
But I think it's really savvy by Brett Yormark, if it is true what we're being told, that Brett Yormark, we talked to some pretty high-placed folks who said Brett Yormark put a coalition of people together to kill the 4-4-2-2-2. But doesn't that go exactly to what Greg Sankey said here a couple of weeks ago?
I don't need lectures from others about good of the game. I don't lecture others about good of the game. And coordinating press releases about good of the game. Again, okay, you can issue your press statement, but I'm actually looking for ideas to move us forward.
Looking for ideas to move us forward. I think that's what Brett Yormark's doing. So again, I think this means Brett Yormark's doing a great job for the Big 12, in my opinion. Now the Big 12 has to do a great job supporting Brett Yormark. And this is the Oak State, Baylor, Tarrant County boy.
Mm-hmm.
This is Texas Tech out there in Lubbock.
Well,
Utah, BYU, Arizona, as Jim Choi said. You think the Big 12 needs Arizona?
Yeah, they do. And again, I'm just going to keep saying it. I think this is why you're hearing Brett Yormark do the whole, hey, we're good with 16. Right? Because what's he doing? He's bending the knee to the SEC while also taking a strong stance for his conference. The SEC wants 16 and they'll play 9 games with that setup.
Yes.
And what Yormark is doing without, explicitly saying it is, okay, cool, give him 16. We'll agree to 16. but we're not going to agree to you having four auto bids.
100%.
We can't do that. And again, my main stance goes right back to what you just said, right? So in that situation, acquiesce on how many teams get in, 16 teams, but then we're going to do 5-11 in that
That's
setup.
Right. That's right.
That then just means that the Big 12, with all due respect, has a big problem on its hands if they don't win football games. And so again, it comes right back to, all jokes aside, James, in your love of Oak State or any other fan on this show, Kansas fan.
No, TCU.
Horny James, TCU.
Don't forget Baylor.
Dude, Mr. Clean damn well better win 9 games.
Yeah.
Damn well.
That's right. Greg Hawkins in the chat. And see, here's a diehard Utah fan. Never been less excited for a football season, a season of college football to start.
Why are you less excited, though?
Because
I have trouble with this.
I'm kind of moving in this direction in that all of this bullshit has taken my passion from the game. It is not, what's the right way to say this as a Notre Dame fan? There's not as much heat on every game because Notre Dame's in. Get in the top 16. When's the last time Notre Dame struggled to be ranked in the top 16? We play Georgia Tech and Navy every year.
Okay, you're telling me that what's the biggest game on their schedule? Do you know off the top of your head by chance?
For
Notre Dame
for this year?
Yeah, for this year. What's the biggest game on your schedule?
I mean, if you look at, we open with Miami, that's one of them.
Okay,
A&M in week 3, SC in the middle of the season. But I mean, we've got.
But everybody
it's not the big game. The problem is we've got like 8 turds on our schedule. Like
right, but here's my point.
Purdue, Arkansas, Boise. Like, who cares?
Right, but you're not going to watch This is just what I was saying about the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup. Even as a Notre Dame fan, you're not going to watch every single game front to back without changing the channel, right? What you're going to do is you're going to say, okay,
that's very true. We're
watching Notre Dame Purdue this week or some crap opponent. We're just going to flip this on. We'll watch first quarter. Okay, let's see how the game's going. We'll flip around. Okay, great. If it's Notre Dame SC, that's going to be your main, and then at halftime you'll flip or whatever. So the reason I bring that up is to say that I disagree with you, Greg, a little bit, only because we're all here. Like, you may have a team. Your team might be Notre Dame or Utah or whatever it might be, but the reality is we're here for Big Ten After Dark and SEC football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're a Big 12 homer or an SC or an ACC homer. You're watching the big game, and I'm here for the big game. I am ready for the Texas Tech huge game.
Do you know how excited I am that Texas in 2059 is coming to Notre Dame? Like one of the games I think is interesting is at Acrisure Stadium. Notre Dame at Pitt this year. It's going to be a really good game. It's late in the year. It'll be a cold weather game. Like.
Yeah,
I'm here for that. I don't care about Notre Dame Stanford. I don't care about Notre Dame Syracuse.
Like, Greg's a Utah fan. How are you not excited about Utah this year?
Yeah, I mean, with all the changes, that's a good point.
Well,
because what did he say? College football is so fundamentally broken.
Yeah,
and I agree with that. I think all this change without any. You're doing all this stuff without anybody getting approval from anybody. Because everybody handed Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti the keys to the car, so they're going to drive.
I disagree with that. Well, Greg Sankey and the SEC earned that by beating your ass repeatedly for the last 10 years.
That's not even up for debate. But Notre Dame, one of the things that pisses me off is Notre Dame just handed it to them so that they could have a spot every year because we don't want to earn it on the field. Be in the top 16. You guys are in. Cool.
But is that so you don't feel like earning it by being in the top? So being in the top 16, you think is just a given for Notre Dame? That's not.
I mean, if we can't beat Pitt or Stanford or Georgia Tech or Navy we don't belong there. And it's coming because Notre Dame is scheduling much, much better in the coming years. I don't know. I understand what you're saying.
But my point is, here's my point, man. This is what I'm saying. That mentality of college football is broken. It's not your old 20 years ago. Oh, little Jimmy's just going to get a scholarship and he's on the football team.
But
Great.
What is it?
Well, what it is now it's big games every single week. Now it's a more entertaining product. Like, college football, in my opinion, is more entertaining now than it's ever been. Like, you're getting access to to better players now than you would have back then. Like I don't know. I just think it may be different, and it is different than it used to be. But to say the whole thing is broken and that's sucking your excitement out of the sport,
I think it is. We don't know what the future is. We don't know in 2 years how anybody's going to win a championship. Like we need what I would really like. And part of the thing that bothers me about this current conversation about, 5'11", 4'44" for your mom's 222. Like, can we just make a decision and stick with it for a couple of years? I know that's crazy talk now, but can we just see how effective it is for a couple of years? Or can we just go to a super league and a new entity that makes a bunch of money, and whatever you're going to do, fucking go do it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking about it. 5 and 11 model is better than the 4-4-2-2-2. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't. Pac-12 paid a price by stopping playoff expansion. Big 12 are in shark-infested waters. Well, I don't think so, because they have a lot of people on their side. If this was just the Big 12 standing in people's way, okay, he put a coalition of voices together. And the biggest question is, you better watch what you wish for. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Right? Luis Enrique, 5'11" all day. Nobody can argue the champion in that case. Totally agree. 100% totally agree. Wasikowski, if the Big Ten SEC thing is dead, then the ACC will be dead in 2030. Don't disagree.
What does that mean? The Big Ten SEC thing?
I don't think it is dead. I don't think it is dead. I think this new entity is just going to be more than the Big Ten and the SEC. There's too much money. And again, Greg Sankey's talked about not shrinking or excluding. Everybody has a chance, but not everybody is able. Everybody ain't able, because not everybody has that kind of bread. So it's going to be all about your money. Kim Coulter, pew, pew. But Monty, no but Monties. 9 toes, 8 fingers. Are you sure Notre Dame is in every year? If they're not, it's a disgrace. If Notre Dame isn't one of the top 16 teams in the country, what are we even doing? And then I'm still going to have to defend my position that Marcus Freeman's an average-ass coach. But no buts.
Monty?
But Jesus Christ is a fan. Yeah, him and his dad can kiss my ass, because we're not in. What good is having Jesus Christ as your number one booster if we're not getting in the top 16?
Apologize to that man.
You got to you got to make that single high safety for Miami slip and fall on a patch of grass that wasn't there.
My fucking ass.
I don't care if you're the son of a Jewish carpenter. You knock that linebacker down so we can run for a touchdown. Anyway, probably too much.
Yeah.
Damn, haha, Monty going off. Phil Venzer. What happened if schools go to a super league and still stink? Nothing. You're paying a lot of money to suck. That's what's happening, right? Which would be bad. Loner phone, only Michigan State has played Notre Dame more in P4. Navy has played more, not P4. Keep putting them on the schedule. But that's the point. Like, we don't play some crazy tough schedule. It's Notre Dame. How'd we lose to NIU? Oh, Jesus is your biggest booster. How'd we lose to NIU? What, is he all of a sudden a fan of some Huskies? You tell me he's walking around the crib up in heaven with Huskies, and he's like, got to keep the Huskies healthy. What are you, out of your mind?
He did have a boat full of animals. Maybe he is.
Well, maybe he needed to put some Huskies on the ark. Yeah, I don't know.
Come on.
The Pope is a Villanova fan. I don't know. Okay. Pitt has been getting some great recruits. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Notre Dame should beat them by 17 points.
Agreed.
Losers. But we won't. We won't. All right, finally, can we talk about Ted Cruz versus Tucker Carlson?
Hey, Eric, you might want to leave on this one, okay, bud?
Eric, you go double check the route, bud.
Yeah, you might want to get back in the truck for this one, all right?
I'm no Tucker Carlson apologist.
No. Admittedly, and I'll give Tucker his flowers. This dude finds a way, whether he's looking like a buffoon in Russia or doing what he did to Cancun Cruz here.
Yeah,
this dude finds a way to stay relevant.
When he's getting inserted by Pooty over there in the Moscow area.
Yeah.
the only way to make it easy for Tucker Carlson is not to be prepared. So who's the hero we needed today? Cancun Ted Cruz, man. And
not the one we deserved, but the one we needed.
And maybe Teddy should go back to Cancun.
I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people living around? 92 million.
Okay, wait a minute. let me get this right. Let me get this right. And you can't make me, but let me get this right. You don't know the population of the country you're trying to overthrow its leadership? This is Ted Cruz, who somehow thought it would end well. It never ends well for Ted. But he thought it would end well if he went on Tucker Carlson's show and talked about Iran. And just right out of the gate, Ted Cruz, hey, bud, you want to overthrow the Iranian government, and you don't know how many people you would have to support to do that.
Come on.
And it only gets better from there.
I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people living around? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about... Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran? They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, it's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who claims anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump? Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that... We're carrying out military strikes today. You said Israel was. Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them. Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity. No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them. You just said we were. We are supporting Israel. High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening. Okay.
Ted?
Bro.
Hey, man, can you run over to the Cruz crib and do a wellness check on Ted?
No, I'm not doing that.
Bro.
And you guys got to go watch the interview. He dismantles Ted Cruz. And whether you agree with Tucker or you do not want to walk into Tucker's show and not have information. Let me get this right. Ted Cruz, who has been a vocal proponent of overthrowing the government of Iran, you're telling me you don't know how many people are in that country. You don't know the demographics of those people in that country. And I'm sorry. Oh, you're breaking news here. Did you just say we're bombing Iran?
I hope it won't come to that.
Like, how many mistakes did Ted Cruz make here? And it again goes to tell you, guys like Ted Cruz should not be making decisions for you and me.
No.
Ted Cruz wants to overthrow a government that he knows nothing about. And that little blurb there about, well, you're not even upset that they're tried to assassinate Donald Trump. That's a QAnon reference. He was so desperate, he went QAnon because they said that the shooter in Pennsylvania was an Iranian asset. There's no proof of that. And they've never been able to prove that, even though they just keep saying that. And Iran even laughed at that. And then he said, well, you don't want to go after Iran for that because if you did, you'd already be bombing them. Like, it is one of the most mind-numbing things I have ever seen. And again, you're making me a fan of Tucker Carlson when I am no fan of Tucker Carlson's. But to absolutely screw Ted Cruz into the ground is amazing to me. It is amazing to me that
It's iconic, dude.
Ted Cruz will never live this down. And he got reelected by the hair on his chinny chin. Like, and then you
look like an idiot, dude. You look like an idiot. You just got owned by a guy who got disowned by Fox News, dude.
I mean, it is wild to me. It is wild to me. And here we are. The thing I want to understand is, if you're Ted Cruz, do you not know who you're talking to? This used to be a Republican Party asset in Tucker Carlson, who is no longer that guy after the Russia thing. And Donnie's routinely now attacking Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson, one of the loudest voices on the Iranian nuclear deal. Well, I mean, it's pretty clear why they undid the Iranian nuclear deal, isn't it? Because they wanted to bomb them. Donald Trump and his administration have aligned with Israel at every opportunity, which is fine. If that's your political position, you do you. But don't send your boy Ted Cruz out to die.
Yeah, that's terrible, dude.
Because there just is, it's amazing to me how foolish Ted Cruz is. This is one of the most embarrassing political interviews I think I have ever seen.
Just not ready for it.
For a guy who doesn't know how many... Do you understand when you topple a country, you've got to then take over supporting the people? Because what happens when there's an absence of leadership? People will step in to lead.
Yes.
And that's not why you topple a regime in Iran. So, it's just it's really bad form by Ted Cruz. And I'll just continue to tell you, Ted Cruz has no business leading anybody.
No.
And this interview, frankly, I think it's pretty clear Tucker Carlson's a black sheep. Right? He's had trouble getting big name guests. The Vladimir Putin thing did not go well for him. It was a complete and utter disaster. And he's kind of been invisible since then, even though I know everybody lost their minds on this show when I said, hey, this is going to really damage him. He lost a ton of viewership over it. This is what he needed. Tucker Carlson needed jackwagon Ted Cruz to be a complete idiot. And
he needed someone to make him look good, and that's exactly what this is.
Did Ted Cruz come through in
look like
triplicate?
A hero, bro.
Like you made Tucker Carlson look like some brilliant bro. And he may be. I mean, he's one of the smartest guys on the... You don't have to agree with his politics, right? But Tucker Carlson's a really smart guy.
Yeah.
He knows politics. He understands geopolitical issues and conversations and structures, and Ted Cruz does not. And it's why Ted Cruz couldn't ever get elected governor or president, because he can't have a foreign policy debate. The guy is just lost in that water, right? And here we are. I mean, it is amazing to me that we are in a time where voices in the political media really matter. I mean, look at President Trump's cabinet is almost wholly former Fox News people. I'm not even joking about that. If you, Pete Hegseth all the way down. And now apparently Tulsi Gabbard's on the way out because of what happened with Iran and some surprises there. But whatever, you look at his cabinet, how many former Fox News people are in that cabinet?
A lot.
Over a dozen. Over a dozen. And you wind up, when you get in bed with dogs like Ted Cruz and Fox News folks, you're going to get fleas. And here we are. And I think it is going to be very difficult for Ted Cruz to ever overcome this.
Yeah.
Because you look at the struggles that this administration has had getting off the ground, if you will, in policy and making policy like the big, beautiful bill or any of the things that you've tried to do here, leaving NATO, whatever you want to point to, Doge, Elon, that whole disaster, you really need this Israel-Iranian situation to go well. And the last thing you need is Ted Cruz going on Tucker Carlson and making an ass of himself by saying, we're bombing Iran. We're taking action against Iran. And then trying to correct. You could see that he knew right away when he said, we are. Wait, whoa. Did you say, what do you mean we? Oh, but no, it's Israel.
We're partnered with them and we're helping them, and it's not us.
And then to immediately pivot and say, well, in the Bible, it says those who support Israel will be supported. Ted Cruz later in this interview tries to say that he doesn't have a choice but to support Israel because the Bible says he, as a Christian, is obligated to support Israel. And Tucker Carlson laughed at him and then said, where in the Bible is that from? And Ted Cruz is like, well, I don't know. I don't know. And Tucker's like, yeah, that's Genesis, and they didn't mean Netanyahu, Israel. Bro. Like, just time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is, yeah, Dwight. And this is what everybody is saying who's watched the interview today. That Ted has been outed. He resulted to name calling as he was left with nothing else to say.
Yeah. Which is because he was not educated on the stuff they were talking about.
And again, what am I going to say about the current geopolitical state of this country? It's so bad for all of us. Ted Cruz having a meltdown on Tucker Carlson's show is bad for all of us. The president not getting his agenda off the ground is bad for all of us. The bombing Iran as a favor to Israel is bad for all of us, right? All of this stuff that is just not happening. The tax code is bad for all of us. And the big, beautiful bill is bad for all of us. Elon and Doge and all those cuts. And have you guys, the other thing is, did you guys see how many people have been rehired out of the Doge cuts? I mean,
they don't have a choice.
This is all bad for us. And if you're a multi-gazillionaire and okay, you're going to be fine. Money-wise, you're going to be fine. The tax code is written for you. It's the average guys like us. It's the FedEx drivers. It's the Amazon warehouse worker. It's the middle class that's no longer the middle class. Because there is the 99% and then everybody else. And we're all the everybody else. And we need solid, good leadership and good decision-making. And I think we're going to struggle to get that. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying to me listening to a guy like Ted Cruz who almost had the nomination and wanted to be. How many times did he beg for a cabinet position? And then barely got reelected in Texas. And now this is the guy going on Tucker's show to trumpet the win with Israel over Iran, and then outing us as the ones actually providing the bombs. Because now if you didn't see the news, like they're saying that Israel is short of weaponry now because of the combination of the Gaza situation and Iran. And Ted Cruz tries to go on there to trumpet and build support, and he absolutely got inserted, like derailed, taken apart at the studs. And I just don't know where we go from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that where we go from here is Tucker's going to get another chance to interview another big-time personality after this in the political realm because more people want this. And, hopefully the next person that shows up is educated because that's what came out of this, in my opinion, is that Ted Cruz just looked uneducated, uninformed, and looked like he was just going off of storylines.
He thought he was going to get a free pass. I think, and anybody who's seen the interview, I think you would have to agree. I think Ted Cruz went on Tucker Carlson's show thinking it was a friendly forum and he's just going to feed me softballs. Well, you're not Vladimir Putin. Tucker Carlson is a dog that needed food. He was an emaciated dog that needed food, and he ate on Ted Cruz. I think this was a huge win for Tucker Carlson because now Tucker can bring himself, because Tucker's openly talked about wanting to come back to the middle. He was a very conservative voice. He wanted to come back to the middle to try and get back some kind of voice and platform. And him and Elon had whatever separation that was, that maybe now they're back together. I don't know. This is an unequivocal win for Tucker. There's no doubt about it. You know, Jim Choi, Cruz ain't the only politician that doesn't know Jack. It is in both parties. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, it is. When you have, like, what is going on with Noam? Did you guys hear about her fainting thing? And
I think it would be fascinating to get a Democrat on Tucker's show. I would love to see somebody have the balls to go on his show and chat.
I don't know that he would do that. I don't know. All of the clowns in DC are bought and paid for. It's a giant club and you aren't in it. That's true. I just think it's one of those things where we have to figure out how to, in our lives as the people who are most greatly affected by this, and we talk about this pretty much every day, whether it's paycheck to paycheck or mortgages or car loans, or we're the ones who are greatly affected by these things, because the big, beautiful bill is something that is going to impact all of our lives. There's just no question about that. And really, if you're a parent or a grandparent, that's where you're really like, dude, what are we ever going to do about that debt? Because it's never going away, right? And I think it's got to stop being a Democrat thing, because frankly, the Democratic Party's dead. Like, the only thing that Elon said in the last month that made any sense was, we need something new and different that represents everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Democratic Party the Republican Party's dead. There's no more Democrat or Republican Party. I mean, you can hang an R, you can hang a D, you can hang red or blue, whatever you want. The Democratic and Republican parties are dead. You need to get on board with that. This is about how we go forward. And what happens, for instance, in the midterm elections, because right now I think that's where we're going to get our first real barometer of the American people, right? Like, and it's really difficult. And I want to be careful with that, because the sitting president always loses the midterms, right? I mean, always. But that's really a voice of the people, like, hey, we voted for the president, but we're not happy with my legislators, my senators, but we've got to stop being these different parties and come together as Americans behind something that helps the masses, because that's what democracy is supposed to be about. And we're in a situation now where that we're not a democracy anymore. We've become so fractured that we're doing things that are hurting our ability to thrive as Americans. And so I think we've got to stop with this Democrat Republican nonsense and become Americans again.
Yes.
Because we're not, the conservative movement in this country is dead. Like, it is. And I know that's probably uncouth, but you look at the agenda in the White House right now, that's not a conservative agenda. That is an ultra conservative, far right, way outside of the norm of even a staunch conservative. We are way beyond that. And you look at the liberal movement, there is no liberal movement. And I've said this, I think, for 8 years. If you're a liberal or a conservative, you're lost, because the politicians that you think are representing your movement don't represent your movement.
Nope.
And so now your taxes, and look at what's happened here. Your taxes are higher. Our cost of goods is higher. Cost of goods has not come down. Inflation has not come down, right? We all were sold and told, hey, well, when Donald Trump gets elected, inflation's going to plummet and the market's going to explode. That hasn't happened. That has not happened, because the president doesn't control inflation. The president does not control the market. The president, like jobless numbers, employment hasn't been cut in half because the president doesn't control unemployment. But what the president controls is things like tariffs, which scare people. And it's scary to people like us because we're the ones who are paying the tariffs. We're the ones who are seeing higher cost on Amazon when you buy your stuff on Amazon. when you buy your stuff on Walmart, when you go to the grocery store, right? So forget this idea that you're a conservative or a liberal. You're an American. And you've got to find a way, we've got to find a way to coalesce around this idea that we all need to come together to help ourselves move forward. Because unless you're in the billionaire club, you're not moving forward. Millionaire, the barely millionaire, they're called, as Jim Cramer likes to refer to them, the barely millionaires are not millionaires anymore. They're 100,000aires. That wealth has come down. It's all the people who had billions that now have billions more.
Yes.
So just kind of keep that in mind. Jim Choi, true Democrats should be fighting for new gig worker rights, but they're for gig companies. See, you get too lost in the weeds. Unions need to be supported in this country. And there's this idea that somehow Amazon's this terrible company. And I got news for you. Amazon powers our economy.
Yeah.
And you very clearly, this idea, and I hear all these people that say that Amazon warehouse workers are slaves, and they're not slaves. Where are they without that job? And I continue to ask this, where are they without that job? Because what's going away? Medicaid's going away. Social Security's going away. Unemployment's going away. All the entitlements going away. Anything that is viewed as welfare, food stamps going away. Where are you without that Amazon warehouse job? Nowhere. Because you get benefits and you have a job that's never going. Is it an easy job? No. But what I'm telling you is we need to stop this thing where we're like, they've gotten too big. Okay, so now we don't want people to grow their businesses and get rich, because Jeff Bezos was sitting in his garage at one point selling books and packing them in boxes and mailing them. Does Amazon do everything right and they're this perfect company? No. Is Amazon too big? Probably. And they're suffering from that, as is Google, as is Meta. We do this thing where, oh, we want to be rich, and if it was my company. When are we going to stop shaming rich people? Because everybody started in a warehouse job. Everybody started selling books in their basement, in their garage. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
We have gotten to this point where we have to pay people more and the job should be easier. No, it shouldn't. Because at some point we need to get on board with the idea that hard times make hard men, as Joe Rogan says. And I'm a big believer that when times are soft, people get soft. And what happens when people get soft? Bad things happen. That's what happens. We lose our edge. And right now we have no edge because we don't want to go. All of a sudden, we're not deporting people in fields. We're not deporting people in slaughterhouses. Why is that? Because who's going to do those jobs, dude? You deported a bunch of those farm workers, and what did the farmers say? We don't have anybody to do those jobs because nobody wants them. All right, we got to stop with that. Just stop doing that. And it's just something that we do. I just think it is really difficult for me when we talk all this nonsense about how it's an equal and freedom. The American dream's dead. And why is it dead? Because all the rich people stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Your millennials, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
There isn't anything to tell.
Because we're in this place where it's like, oh, millennials, they shouldn't have to work at Amazon. Yeah, they should. Yes, they should. Go drive a FedEx truck.
Yeah.
That's not a bad living. We were born on industry in this country, and now all of a sudden we're too good to work in warehouses and drive trucks?
Yeah, I think that sentiment comes from the advent of the internet. You know, I think millennials want so badly to make money on the internet. It's like, well, if you want to do that, you got to get educated, and you have to make the investment in it. And, you know, I think that, you know, I think the challenge for millennials, you know, and you hear all the time on millennials and their parents and all that, but like just the challenge for millennials is like, you know, I feel like most millennials are scared to just do what they want to do and, you know, like go and chase the things that you want to chase, like for whatever reason. And I think that's
we don't teach courage.
Yeah. So,
we don't teach balls anymore.
Yeah. And so now it's like, all right, well, the political landscape is so complicated anymore that it's just difficult. It's difficult to understand what's best, or like what's the, the lesser of two evils and all that good stuff. I think overall people have this, I don't know, just this like apathy, sort of, just this like, like one of my best friends doesn't vote. And it drives me nuts. Like that, like just thinks his vote doesn't matter. Like if you're the person that says, oh, I'm not going to vote because my vote doesn't get counted, or it doesn't matter, it doesn't have an impact, you're out of your mind. Then what's the point of, everything that's happened in our country's history? What's the point of being an American? It's the most American thing you can do to be able to vote, vote and have your voice heard. And I just think, so I just think we're in this weird time where like, people, I agree, people don't want to work hard, but it's like, it takes time. Like all we hear about is, oh, this like 15-year-old's making ridiculous money on the internet or whatever. Like we hear about these sort of pipe dream situations, and we don't get told what actually happened to make that possible. And then we feel like shit because we're not making millions of dollars at 15 years old. And then that demotivates us to do anything. And so I just think it's this thing where you have to be willing to go out and do what you want to do what you think is right, and have the conversations. Of course, I think there's major value in understanding someone's perspective who like is older than you or whatever. Like that's very valuable, of course. But at the end of the day, like you get one life and you're the one that's living it. So I just think it's people. You can't operate scared.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
I think the biggest problem right now is that voters have a lot of apathy. Voters don't believe their vote matters. And I tell people all the time, your vote matters. And I agree with, some of the arguments about the popular vote versus the electoral college. Okay, I get it. But the thing that I continue to hammer into people is your aldermen, your towns council people, your mayors, your state legislatures, your governors, those people matter. Mike Lee humiliated the state of Utah this weekend by mocking Democratic legislators in Minnesota who were murdered. And now he's deleted those tweets, and he has not spoken and is not answering his phone. Who's going to hold him to account for that? Because I'm telling you now, it won't be his fellow senators. It's people like us in Utah who voted for him, who should never have voted for him, as I begged you not to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here we are.
You need to vote in your local elections. Most presidents, and this president is very different, but most presidents are not going to damage you, and most presidents are not going to help you. But your senators, your legislators, your local elected officials make real tangible differences in your bank account. And I talk about it all the time with this Ryan Smith situation where Salt Lake County legislators just handed the guy $1 billion with no oversight. And who's going to do anything about it?
Nobody.
It's crazy to me. And it's just one of those things where, government is the definition of rules for thee, not for me.
Yep.
Look at all the stock trades. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene trading on insider information, allegedly. Look at all the people who bought Trump's crypto coin. And look at all the people who made money. They were all billionaires. Look at all the people who lost money on the Trump crypto. All the dollar and dime people lost money. Look at all the people right before the tariffs were announced that bought and sold stock. All the senators, all the cabinet insiders bought and sold stock right before those tariffs were announced. Look how much money they made out of that. They want to make rules. And this is probably too far, but it's the reality is our federal level politicians make rules to suppress us, to push us down and make themselves more money. And until the masses get on board with that, that's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
That's never going to change. So It just is crazy. Yeah, Lopes fan game. The mayor of Monty Town is the only one that matters.
Yeah. In correction, it's Monty
Montytown.
Montytown. You know,
Montytown.
that's a slight correction.
Yeah.
Montytown.
You know. And then there's Big Daddy Magic, who says he owns stock. Yeah, I don't know how to describe the video that Big Daddy Magic sent me today, and I'm going to play it for you in all of its glory. And I want you to understand that Big Daddy Magic is a special individual. Hold on.
Hey, Timothy. Guess who's back from Shalom? Victor's back. Tell a friend. Now he has kung fu action.
Okay.
Kung fu action. He's going to be the greatest kung fu fighter in the history of the world. When Victor walks down the street, Chuck Norris crosses the street. And hey, player, you little senior citizen bandwagon jumping Kevin Durant, doesn't look like he's going to be getting 6 or 7, well, he's done retire, but he's 2 or 3 rings off of Victor's holy sweat. No. It's going to be Giannis. And you know in deep down in your Monty soul, if Giannis and Victor team up and he makes Victor lift weights and he becomes Superman, the only thing you're not going to have to worry about deep down in your Monty soul is not all the kidney beans you're eating, but knowing I'm going to be unbearable.
You're not unbearable now?
And Victor will have the greatest NBA career ever. And when they write his autobiography, it's going to be known as the NBA record book. Victor's back.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Listen, and I...
Man, wow, that was absolutely scintillating reporting right there. Thank you.
So I said to him, you're unbearable about Skinny Ninja already. And Big Daddy Magic said,
Timothy. You said I'm unbearable now.
You are.
Look at you. You're slipping a little bit. You said Victor was a skinny ninja. First of all, he's an elite ninja.
Okay. My bad.
And for 8 hours, 7 minutes, and 53 seconds, you've been making fun of Victor. Oh, bleep, Victor. Oh, look, Victor, if you're in trouble. Victor looks like he's in Alcatraz. First of all, historic accuracy is not your strong point. Tables in Alcatraz were metal.
Okay.
In that Buddhist temple, everybody knows Buddhist temples are made of wood.
Okay.
They were made from a Buddhist woodchuck chucking beaver.
Oh, my bad. How did I not know
he's
that?
Probably telling all his beaver friends right now, hey,
Victor's got a lot of beaver.
Victor's using them, and he's bragging to all his little beaver buddies.
Okay.
His beaver buddies.
His beaver buddies.
You forget. If Victor's on the cover of NBA Live 2025,
you mean 2K?
I'm gonna hold that voodoo cursing James lover of overrated Buc-ee's. It's nothing more than truck stop diarrhea food.
Wow. Oak State James catching strays from Big Daddy Magic now is, as is Buc-ee's, is diarrhea food.
Diarrhea is the great equalizer.
This is what I do. Yeah, kung fu baller, man. Yeah, Jeremiah, I own stock too. Loner phone says I'm here for Big Daddy Magic. It just is what it is. And on that, my friends, I think we're out. It's been a good week. We'll be back on Monday, off for a little vacay. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the conversations. Thank you for supporting this show. Thank you to the advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Everybody's going to be outside this weekend. It's the 100 most deadly days of the year between Memorial Day and Labor Day. The advocates remind you, be safe. When you're riding your bike, you're riding your motorcycle, be safe. But if the worst happens, get to theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Until Monday, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.